home title and a vessel title. Okay, so probably start with motor vehicle and look at that one, huh? All right.
Yep. Just a regular automobile registration. Or a vehicle, motor vehicle registration, whatever they call it. How to register an automobile.
SmokingBaby, how you doing?
Driving down the road, trying to get, there's something I need to get at the store real quick. What's up with you?
Yeah. Nothing. I want to relate to your comment of unhireable and maybe also uninsurable too as well. Would be. I'm finding myself in that same position as we struggle through the weeds.
Especially at my age, 61. At 61, it's like you're the. I don't know. Not to mention the market's changed and everything. There is for the veterans, there is a unemployable status at the VA. I started that 2-3 years ago, and then of course everything. You start doing one thing, you'll see 7 things pop up to try to trip you up. It's amazing. Start one thing, you have like half a dozen more to fuck with you.
Yeah, they don't make it easy, do they?
Well, no, it's not so much they. It's just kind of the universe is kind of like, oh, you're going to start something here. Let's see if you got his priorities down.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to the Title 15 consumer credit thing that you were talking about. What was that located at?
What do you mean, consumer credit versus commercial credit?
Yes.
It talks about in the Canadian Bill of Exchange Act. You have consumer credit. And Derek goes over it really well. If it's industrial, commercial, or agricultural, it's not consumer credit. And
okay.
by default, it's commercial. Just like, well, everything's commercial by default, including your automobile registration, including your electrical account. So we have to expressly state on the application consumer purchase, consumer credit transaction, and then given for a patent right above the signature on that collateral security letter of credit application.
I see.
The applications, all those things.
And that was for what, like a bank account?
No, it's an application. It's money.
Yeah.
It goes to the Federal Reserve to give Federal Reserve notes.
Mm-hmm.
If you read 31 small letter E CFR 31 E CFR 357, it talks about the Federal Reserve and we're the participant and who the parties involved. Okay. Going to the Federal Reserve, setting up a funds account, and then instructing the dealer to debit the funds account at the Federal Reserve and credit the account at the bank.
You mean something your account? Your account.
Yeah, my account. The account I set up at the bank. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't use those words per se.
Yeah.
But we're the participant in this menagerie of parties. You go read 31 ECFR 357.
E357, yeah, I got that. Yeah, well, no, we're not the participant. Something else is participating. But
all right. Well, anyway, they have they have the word participant in there. Yes, you're not the dealer. You're not the broker. You're not treasury agent. You're not any of those other parties.
Nothing. Right, I hear you. Well, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate your insight. It's pretty good. Thank you.
That's how I see it, though. What
I don't know if anybody heard you. You were kind of breaking up there. If you were saying something.
I'll be breaking up for a minute because I'm in a store. Because this time of day is cat time, and I'd forgotten it was Thursday. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Marco Polo. Hear me? Anyone?
I thought you were buying those for a second.
No, I have a Brontosaurus at home.
Oh, no. Can you tell me where
Hey,
your guys' weight scales are? You should get those.
Here's my
Oh, sorry.
Did it find me?
Sean? Right? Sean?
Yeah. Sean Puffy Combs. He's Sean. He's cool.
Would you like to apply for the My Walgreens credit card?
What happened?
Would you like to apply for the My Walgreens credit card?
Oh, no. You guys can hear me? People out there?
You're in and out, but yeah, we can hear you.
This place must be like Fort Knox. No signal gets in and out.
Yeah, there's no signal.
I have a Bolsa. Three. All right, maybe you can hear me now. Yes, no, maybe. Still can't hear me?
No, we can hear you. I can. I don't know if there's anybody else on here.
Okay, good. We have a haboob. You ever, the storms that blow into Arizona? Called a haboob. Dust storms, rain, everything. Never heard of that?
That's the first time I heard of haboob. Now, you get actual rain out there? Is that what you guys are saying? Is that what you're saying?
Most of it evaporates before it hits the ground, unless it's a really good one.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you guys do all week? If you're not working on, what are you doing all week? What, you guys maybe got something else that you should talk about? Does everybody have a jobby job? Yeah, I think it was, I don't know if it was had asked or someone asked about the car. The car I'm in right now is a dead woman's car. It's an estate car. I got pulled over because the executrix failed to re-register the automobile. So they wrote me a ticket, and I got a letter. I got something from Arizona DMV, and it says, you cannot register your vehicle with my name on it. Probably because I don't have an Arizona vehicle. So I have two ways to look at it. Number one, they've restored my constitutional right to travel. So that's one thing. The other thing I'm going to go in and thank the ADOT for making the determination that this VIN number on this automobile is now my property. The Arizona DOT awarded me this Honda CRV. I think that's kind of nice of them. They made a determination that this is my vehicle. Oh, great. You don't think it's funny? I think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious, but I think it's more hilarious. I'm not sure where you're coming from, but I'm thinking that you have all that property in an estate would be my guess.
I'm not the dead person.
No, I know you're not. Obviously.
But the DOT said you cannot register your vehicle, and it has my name on their notice. So the Arizona DOT must have made a determination that this vehicle they speak of is mine.
Right.
It's an award. They awarded me this Honda CRV.
Well, you got a free car.
It's an administrative determination.
Right. Right.
Awesome. That's awesome. They also said I can't register the vehicle. Well, fine. Then I'm traveling in an automobile. That's awesome too. They did two things for me. Got me a car, and now I can travel. I can only travel in the car because I can't register the vehicle, which is commercial. So I'm stuck being consumer good use, and now the car belongs to me.
I need a car. Grab me one.
Well, you're gonna have to go find someone else, some dead lady's car to go drive around in with expired tags, and they probably do the same thing for you.
Well, I could always make a dead lady, right?
Sure, it's happening. Sure, it's happening right now as we speak, somewhere in New York.
Yeah, no shit.
Chicago.
Yep. It's crazy out here, man. Everywhere.
Where's there?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Well, yeah, everywhere. All the shit you hear in a day.
See what happens. But Kamala's going to say, we can depend on her.
Sounded like you were getting attacked by the cats.
Kamala can save us. He's good.
For sure. For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
What a joke. You realize no one, I'm pretty sure even the Chief Justices, none of them are legit because none of them have.
Uh-oh. You're gone again.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
now?
how do you do that? You go away and then you come back.
Yeah, they come back to reset the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. None of these, even if they have an oath, even a bogus oath, but just having a bogus oath, I could swear an oath to be the judge, a marshal, or something like that, right? I hereby swear I will be a good marshal. But if I never get appointed to the office of marshal, I'm still not a marshal, right?
Sure. Well, you could say what you want, right? I mean,
separate issue. I can take an oath, but if I'm not appointed, the oath is useless.
So what you're saying is that Yeah, so even if they do have an oath, they still need the appointment.
Yes. They took an oath to what office? They never stepped into it. They never signed these SF-61.
Yeah. Isn't it sad?
No, none of these. No one in the United States government has an SF-61 on file. No one. Most of them don't even have an oath, much less a bogus oath. It's all completely bogus, all completely de facto. So I'm going to go. I'm thinking I'm going to become a federal judge and a U.S. Marshal, take the oath, and turn my SF-61 into the Office of Personnel Management and see if that doesn't trigger my office.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it for me.
Well, they're all filing the what do you call that? The W.
If you accomplish that, Sean, if you accomplish that, I would volunteer to be your first deputy.
It'd be fun to do. So the fact that everything's a fiction, everything is bogus, everything is a farce, everything's retarded. It's just, there is no government. Period. They're just actors. Not to mention all the great seals of all the states and the District of Columbia and the DOD and the United States of America are all trademarked in Canada. So they're all foreign agents. Unregistered foreign agents engaged in mixed war and treason against the people, which I see as a problem. But that's just me.
No, it's not. It's not just you.
But imagine just getting in there and getting pulled over on the side of the road, and you're a U.S. Marshal and a judge. You think those little monkeys in their monkey suits are going to monkey about too badly? No, I don't think so. Oh, sorry, Judge. Oh, sorry, Marshal. I don't think they're going to monkey about too much. Imagine taking the oath of the President of the United States. You actually hold the oath and the SF-61, and then you're bonded through your birth certificate, which bonds the office. Okay, I'm the President of the United States. Here you go. I'm one of the people in the 10th Amendment.
One of the dead people.
No, I'm not.
No, I know you're not.
I don't know where that comment comes from. So one of the people, political domicile in the 10th.
Yeah.
So do you have to give some notice if you're going to accept your domicile in that 10th Amendment, and how does that work?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Hold on. There it is. Yeah. How would? Because realize you guys are not in the United States, right? None of you are, right? Are any of you in the United States?
Nope.
I haven't figured out how that would be possible, though. So we're not.
Definitely
not.
How do you see that? How do you see it as impossible? To round out the question.
No. Well, I don't know that the United States is a determined geographical location that I've ever entered there. I've ever discovered.
That's true. Yep. The United States is a fiction.
Yeah.
It's a fiction. So, there was a guy who flew into LAX years ago, heard it from Victoria Joy, and he had a warrant, so they came and picked him up on a warrant, and Victoria Joy worked with him, and he asked one simple question. He said, "Can you cite the latitude and longitude in the United States where you arrested me?" And they let him go.
Yeah, exactly. But it is it's a fictional state of mind theater for those that play in it.
Yep. So how do you enter the United States? That's the question.
That's a question I've been contemplating for a decade now, at least.
I can't give you the answer now because Derek and I are putting together a class, and this is part of the class. So, because I agreed with Derek, and have to pimp you guys.
Well, I talked to Rob Ryder about it. I think it was 10 or 12 years ago, and him and I were both with the small group of people that listened to him. We were trying to figure out how do we get into this United States.
I know how.
Indeed it
I
is.
I already tracked it down.
Wow. Fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Love to know.
Have you guys, let me see. And if you're entering the United States, where were you before you entered the United States? That's part of the equation, by the way. Who are you entering the United States? Who are you? Remember, I keep telling you guys, write down who you are. Someone said, "Who are you?" What would you say, or what would you write down? I've been telling people to tackle that question, and I tell them to go read "God Betrayed," the book, PDF book. It should be a PDF in there someplace, or the website "God Betrayed," to help you answer your question. Who are you? That's the other part.
That's a book?
Yes.
Isn't that that's the paradox that the Jesuits in society elect to use against the uneducated people, isn't it?
But who are you? Mr. Smith, I find you guilty.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say? Yes, Your Honor, put you in jail.
But you as a name that indicates a sheep that owes some fleece, right?
It's a minor. It's an insurance salesman in the code. You has multiple meanings. It's a debtor. It's a debtor, United States debtor. There's a whole bunch of different definitions of you in the code. So if you read "God Betrayed," because if you can't,
I jump to conclusions that this is a question. I would ask if this is a question or statement.
Okay, so if you can't state who you are, they'll tell you who you are, and you won't like it.
Well, you see, if somebody says, "Who are you?" that's not necessarily a question. That could be a statement.
Okay, so if you can't tell them who you are, they'll tell you who you are, and you won't like it.
Do you think it's reasonable to clarify whether it's a question or a statement?
Nope.
Who are you? They're calling you who? They're calling you.
Otherwise, you're a stateless person and a belligerent, and they'll put you in jail. If you don't have any ID,
I can testify to that, Sean. Is if I didn't articulate specifically who I was and let them know that my education is above their pay grade, I would not be talking to you guys right now.
It's correct. Who are you is the wrong question, but that's the question I use because how people react to that question states their state of indicates their state of mind. Yep. Read "God Betrayed." Should be in this room, or it's on a website. It's Finley. The guy's name's Finley who wrote the book. God betrayed. Yeah, on my piece, I'm going to go through, and people are going to have some homework assignment beforehand so they can actually participate. So they want to walk you through the consumer good automobile and the FEMA card and the FEMA card, do FENSIN again, FENSIN ID. We'll just talk about the Proclamation 179. You guys need to really, Proclamation 179 goes along with who are you. So that's something you have to struggle through because you'll be challenged on it at some point. On it being who are you related to capacities. But, I'll tell you the approach I went through.
An immortal spirit acting as the trustee of a living private trust.
Well, no. That's close. That's a little off at the end. Read God Betrayed.
Okay, I'll read it. Definitely.
And like Kiki's been saying, the definition of God in the Oxford Dictionary is a proper case name. So if your dad's still alive, have your dad officially adopt you as an adult adoption and give you a proper case name in the final decree. If your dad's not alive,
if you had like could a spiritual advisor do the same thing, perhaps as a trustee?
You could use your baptismal certificate. It's true.
Well, right, like in my case, like I'm a leader of a Hindu cult, right? So, sometimes we give the people that enter our school of thought, we give them names, and so perhaps we need to offer those decrees and have a secretary put a seal on it or something.
Oh, again, the name it's a proper case name instead of the all caps name. The trade name versus the street name. There's still a connectivity in this system. Here. So your baptismal certificate.
No surname on a baptismal certificate. Is that correct?
No, mine has all three names, first, middle, last, because the Vatican owns the last name. The Vatican owns the last name.
Is that because their copyright on the alphabet or something?
No, it's because Henry I brought a Jesuit Venetian lawyer back to England, and he started giving all the in the roster of people, Johnson's, Smith, and all those. He started giving everyone surnames, and the Vatican, and because it was a Vatican attorney out of Venice coming around giving everyone names. I forget what year it was, before 1666. That surname
was that like some noble royal decree that was happening? What?
Yep, back in, I think it was Henry I. Henry I was illiterate.
Wow. Really?
in the Targum of Jonathan, it states, God commanded man what was good, but the devil surnamed it evil, thereby confounding the command, sending the whole world topsy-turvy.
The world meaning like the overlay of heaven or something? No, like the world, like the empire?
That's exactly what's in Targum of Jonathan. How you interpret it's up to you, but the surname, God commanded man was good, but the devil surnamed it evil.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I get it. So the surname is evil. It's has no life.
The Catholic Church worships Lucifer. So does the Mormon Church. So do most churches.
Yeah, they seem to be into that Saturnian type of
black,
worship.
Yeah, the priestly robes, the black, yeah. Judge robe, church priest robe. There's another book called The Authors of Evil. Authors of Evil. Walter Weiss talks about it. That's a good book. And it has a Jesuit with a priest garb on. Yeah. Authors of Evil.
Those are the ones that came into the they came into the original Catholic Church and Romanized it. I mean,
it was the Nicene, what was that Nicene thing?
Those Jesuits.
The Council of Nicaea. The Council of Nicaea made sure that Lucifer was not excluded from the church.
Oh, are they acting as a is that cult acting as Congress today?
I don't know what you mean, Congress. DC?
No, I'm saying the most ancient Congress. I thought that was called the Council of Nicaea, or at least in modern history.
I guess so, man. The Council of Nicaea made sure Lucifer wasn't excluded, because they do have there is the worship of Lucifer in the Catholic Church, and the lawyers go through after they get through their law thing. They have a I don't know if it's called a process, but it's called deviling. They go through a deviling process. That's actually what it's called.
I looked at the etymology of that the other day. It's quite fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So that's how it's also in the, I think that, I don't know if I put the name in this room or not. It's called The Name. They talk about all the different parts of the name. It says, when a man is made a spiritual peer, he loses his surname. When a temporal, his Christian name. By adding the surname to the Christian name, it creates a temporal person. It destroys the spiritual peer by appending the surname.
So it's just naming the corpus of the mortal flesh.
Well, you have the Christian name and you have the surname, but out here in this system here, it's all decedent estates. Everything's a deceased thing here. Out here in the public, the birth certificate's a death certificate, and blah blah. All these legal fictions are dead. The estate's been probate since the registration. There's life insurance policies taken out on that.
So that means that the Social Security Administration is a trustee over that 1666 Act?
No, they're trading with the enemy. OFAC, I think, is now. They trade with the Enemy Act, the Alien Property Custodian, OFAC.
Or Brian, the Attorney General assistant or something. I think his name is Brian. I don't remember his last name.
It used to be a Jody. There's some guy named Jody. He was doing bad things. They got rid of him. Recently, the Alien Property Custodian duties have been taken over by OFAC, Office of Foreign Asset Control. Because I really do think whatever the structure was before now is completely defunct. Same thing with the British Crown. The British Crown is just a figurehead. The government up there in DC is just a figurehead, because if you look up United States, it goes down to White House Inc. White House Inc. United States, I don't even think really exists anymore. They have White House Inc. is incorporated, and you have the Senior Executive Office. It's called the King of the United States. King of the United States. Let's see if I can find it. King of the United States. I'll post it in the room. Search King of the United States. Where is it? Put in quotes. Quote. quotes, enter. What is this? King of the United States. Interesting. Here we go. How can I get this to you? It's a PDF. Let me go download. Is it downloading? Oh, cancel. Okay. Let me go back over to the room here. Go to here. Slide down. Go to the end. Attach. Go to File. Go to Internal Storage. That today? 708. Yeah. Someone, I mean, what is that? Do the Samsung reader. Samsung. Oh no, that's King of Prussia. Huh, that's different. It's called the executive, you know, the SES, Senior Executive Office. This is not right. Prince Henry of Prussia. I don't know how that got in. King of the United States. Huh? King of the United States. Interesting. Please, piece of history. Very few people see. Maybe it's in that. Maybe it's in that PDF. Someone can let me find it someplace
else. I saw an interesting TikTok video that was speaking of the same thing. Wish I would have downloaded it.
Anytime you find something interesting, always copy a link to your email. Let's see. I have to go. I don't know. Not finding it on my tippy tappy search is not very good, I guess. But it goes to the Office of the Senior Executive. Office of the Senior Executive. Let's look it up. No, not that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Go here. Go. No. Did it again. Go this way. Office of the Senior Executive. Office of the Senior, maybe someone can find it fast for me. Senior Executive search. Office of the Senior Executive Service. It was something set up under Kennedy. There's something called PADS, Presidential PAD, P-E-A-D, I can't remember what it stands for. There was a PAD that let's all this under dark journalist. He was talking about it, that Kennedy was going to sign into office, but he didn't do it in time, where it would have gotten rid of CIA and everybody. One of his PADs.
Aren't those alphabet agencies kind of like special needs trusts, the way they operate?
I don't know who they operate for. Kennedy. What's PAD mean? Presidential Emergency Action Document, PEAD, are draft classified executive orders, proclamations, and messages to Congress that are prepared for the President of the United States to exercise or expand powers in anticipation of a range of emergency, hypothetical, worst-case scenarios so that they are ready to sign. That's what a PEAD is. JFK's nickname. Jack. There was a PAD that Kennedy, I forget the number of it. Dark journalist talks about it. So that's a new word, PEAD for everybody, maybe? I don't know.
Did you put a definition for that? Should we post that?
I just read it. PEAD. I just stopped PEAD. PEAD Kennedy. Presidential Emergency Action Document. And they're not even subject to what? Presidential Emergency Action Document. And message to Congress. They're prepared. Sign effect. Scenario comes. First created by Eisenhower. Sorry, I'm corrected. Eisenhower. Part of the continuity of government. To implement extraordinary presidential authority in response to extraordinary situations. And no PEAD has ever been declassified or leaked. Indeed, it appears that they are not even subject to congressional oversight, although the law requires the executive branch to report even the most sensitive covert military intelligence operations to at least some members of Congress. There is no such disclosure requirement for PEADs, and no evidence that the documents have ever been shared with relevant congressional committees. Interesting. So share. Let's go to Telegram. Let's go to the Smoking Baby room. Smoking Baby. There you go. Here's PEADs. But it does, of course, only apply to the executive branch, and none of us are executive branch people. That's why getting the proper credentials, so if they ever do kick off one of these things, get a little special passport, diplomat courier or whatever, UN passport.
I never could figure out how to fill the passport form out correctly, so I kind of just created my own. But you know how to fill out a passport form correctly?
I'm getting my documentation stuff. I still have my documents ready to enter the United States, and seem to get stuck doing this stupid fucking HOA lawsuit so I can keep a house for my cats over my head. It's due next week. Something's due next week by the executrix, so I have to get this hammered out in the next day or two. Then next weekend, get my documents in. This whole lawsuit thing's taken a year and a half of my life. You know, you try to fit one more thing in there, and other things fall through the cracks. With everything going on.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I haven't even started my 1040Xs on all my W-2s. You asked me, how'd you do it? I have to go back and redo my W-2s for 10 years. No, since 2001. I should go, and as long as I'm doing 2001, I might as well go back to the beginning for every single entry on my 7050 SSA form. It shows the EIN number, who I worked, and the amount I made. Go back and do a 1040X all the way back to when I was 18. Based on the SSA 7050 report, showing everyone I worked for and how much I made, or how much was generated. I'll just use that as the basis to do my 1040Xs.
You go get my charger, please.
Where'd you put it?
Hey, Smoking Baby, how did you get that that form? did you have to fill out that form in order to get the? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was. Oh Jesus! I can't. State.
SSA 7050. SSA 7050. Costs like $100 and some bucks to get your certified copy with everything.
Oh, cool.
I checked off all the boxes.
You submit it online?
No, you have to mail. I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't know what I don't know. I did mine 4 years ago. I did my 7050 in the middle of COVID, and then like at some point I got this letter from the Social Security Administration, and it took a whole year or maybe a little more than a year, and I had forgotten I even sent off for the thing. It arrived in the mail finally. I said, oh, I forgot I even did this.
Yeah.
Have
you gotten any good returns? Have you? Oh, you said you weren't able.
I'm behind because I had the IRS start doing my returns for me back in 2010, going all the way back to 2001. I gave them limited power of attorney to collect all the confidential commercial information and complete the appropriate forms, and and they've been doing. And so I told them in all good conscience, I'm unable to sign these. In all good conscience, I don't know the Internal Revenue Manual well enough to sign any of your forms under penalty of perjury, and therefore, it's my intention to be in voluntary compliance. And I sent your summonses off to every corporation I've done business with since 2010, based on my credit report, and they've all demanded cash money to get the confidential commercial information we need to be in voluntary compliance with the Internal Revenue Code. I'm sure I'm sure these corporations will not charge you, the IRS, a dime for the confidential commercial information. Therefore, attached to this cover letter is a limited power of attorney authorizing and ordering you to collect the confidential commercial information and complete the appropriate returns. They wanted me to go back to in 2010, go all the way back to 2001, and redo all my tax returns. And I had two summonses, two enforcement summonses in 2010 when I was working for Freddie Mac, and so I sent it off to Agent Coleman and San Bernardino. 30 days later, I got a package in the mail. He went back and did an SFR 1040, substitute for return 1040, which is not permitted. 1040 is not a SFR. An SFR permitted. You have a 940, 941, 1042s. They can do SFRs for those forms, but not the 1040. And so because the IRS is the one that went ahead and did all these forms and they were done wrong, this is what they said. Now I can go back and rebut everything the IRS says because they did the wrong. It's right. It's not an authorized SFR 1040. It's not an authorized SFR form. So now I get to go back and redo all those 45, 49 A's that they sent out for all those years, and they still send them to me routinely. And but because I wrote that letter that it's my intention to be in voluntary compliance with the Internal Revenue Code. And I said it 3 or 4 times. So I'm not a tax protester. There was just an impossibility that I don't know the code well enough to sign under the penalty of perjury. And so I kicked it back over to them, and they've been doing it for me ever since, doing all these 45, 49 A's ever since. So I'm not a tax protester.
Right.
Uh-huh.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done any 1041s?
Yeah, I did 1041 in 2004 when got a job at Siemens Westinghouse over in Orlando from California. Drove cross country, got there on a Monday, Thursday. I'm sitting there at Siemens in Orlando, and all of a sudden we're allowed to go home early. I go home early? What holiday is it? And all the people there in Orlando, no, holiday. No, there's a hurricane coming. I go, what? I don't watch. I live in California. You don't look at the weather. You don't look at the weather in California. You don't even think about the weather in California. So there's a hurricane. It was Hurricane Charlie. Hurricane Charlie in 2004. And there's this huge tree. There's a huge tree. You can probably get 8 people holding hands to go around this huge, massive pine tree in the middle of the Siemens Westinghouse complex. And so I went and bought a bunch of shit and candles, and in my extended stay right across the street from Siemens. And then the hurricane came, and whole massive blow. Trucks were upended, leaning against the brick wall and everything. Cars all the telephone lines were down on the street. There was no water. There was no electricity. Nothing. And for a whole week, we had nothing. And that was August. And then September we had Charlie, Ivan, Francis. There was another one in there too. Charlie. I can't remember. There were four of them. And then the Germans over. Westinghouse was sold to the Germans, Siemens. And then they did rebudgeting at the beginning of October. We had 5 programmers, and they got rid of 1.5. They kept 1.5 of the 5 programmers, so that 2 managers in Germany could keep their job. And so I had to drive all the way back to California, and Hurricane Francis chased me from Madeira Beach. I headed north, and Francis was blowing in, and I went to sleep up in Tallahassee, and it was not that bad in Tallahassee. Woke up in the morning, it was bad again, and I kept driving all the way up towards Oklahoma, and I took a left turn in Oklahoma, and Charlie kept going right to the East Coast, and I finally got away from the hurricanes.
Jesus, sounds like you got them all.
Yeah, 2004. What were you asking me again? Before I told you that already.
If you filed a 1041, now.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've been doing corp to corp using my trust EIN, since 2003. And I got my.
So that's your foreign grantors trust? Then?
No, it's just a regular 90-60. It's not a 98. And so the Siemens, the contractor, would not take my corp to corp for the trust. So when I was sitting there in California, so I set up an S corporation in about 7-8 minutes. Got set up the S corporation, got the EIN, and then sent them. And the shareholder for the S corporation was my trust. There's only one shareholder. The trust was a shareholder to the S corporation. So the S corporation earned $75,000, and so the S corporation can't accumulate any funds. The S corporation has to disgorge all their earnings. And so I took a K1 form and moved from the S Corp EIN to my trust EIN, distributing the $75,000 down to the to the trust. And I filed a 1041 for the trust as a simple trust. A simple trust, like an S corporation, can't accumulate anything. And so on line 12 of the 1041, there's fiduciary fees. And the fiduciary fees I took out was $75,000, leaving 0 taxable income on the 1041.
Who the hell kind of knows that shit? I set up an S corp in 10 minutes. Come on. How you do that?
It's cake. It's just cake. It really is. Go online, type in the name, type in the shareholder, have an agent for service or process. I think I used my address in California, and I have to go back and look. And it was done. And I called up and got an EIN number for it. It was good to go. Send it down to the contractor. Okay, see you here in August 25th.
Jesus. We need you on everybody's shoulder when they're going applying for jobs.
Because I didn't want to work W2. I didn't want to work W2. I don't know why. I was just adverse to it. I wanted more money in my pocket.
Yeah.
But
so what do you do with all those IENs? You do anything with them, or you just?
No, they're in a folder.
Keep
them handy. It's always good to have a shell corporation sitting on the shelf ready to use.
Yeah, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. Maybe you should do your own W-2 against one of your corporations.
Nah, I don't need a W-2. I don't need that.
I
know other people do it. They can pay yourself and all this other stuff. Yeah. I'm not going to do that yet. First, I'm going to get access. First, I'm going to get the credit application, consumer credit application to fund an escrow account, and/or the 1099-B to charge the dead woman's estate EIN to acquire this house. And let's get that going first.
Quiet title. Is that what you're doing right now?
No, that's not my house. It belongs to a dead woman. So I'm going to fund it with a 1099-B, I think. We'll see how that works. there should be funds on account in the probate case that can be distributed to the heirs, and the house will be signed over to me in a trust name, of course. Now it'll be my house.
Yeah. Tax free.
What? How?
Tax free.
There's probably some tax on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, there's a tax when I buy a Slurpee at 7-Eleven, so there should be a tax when I purchase this house, some kind of real estate tax, transfer tax.
I seen today pay to the order of a county commissioner for property taxes. I forgot where I saw it at, but it is pretty interesting because the commissioner is in reality the commissioner of all crimes in the city.
It's a maritime. It's a maritime office. It's a maritime office.
Right. Well, commission of a crime. So, anyways.
And what's the crime? Taxing property.
Yeah, there you go.
The ad valorem tax is criminal.
Yeah. But I thought that was pretty interesting. They paid the real estate taxes to the commissioner. So I guess that'd be the way to go.
He just took the invoice and signed it over to him.
Yeah. On the backside, of course.
Or you could just write down numbers on a piece of paper with your signature and your social right there. It's good enough. Pay to commissioner for full accord and satisfaction of outstanding tax obligations.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do the 1099 A's, B's, and C's on that, then. Right?
W-4.
Oh, there you go.
So if they're going to charge an ad valorem tax, doesn't that imply that there's at least some portion of the property that's being used for business and profit and gain?
Right now it is. They redefined it 2 years ago. They redefined it as agricultural, and just haven't had time to go back and remove that presumption to ask them, has that property been ceded to the United States of America under that Fam Guardian tax scam? Talk about within the interior of the external boundaries of the state of Kentucky, ceded to the United States of America. That Fam Guardian tax scam it might be in the room here. Search Fam Guardian.
Does the ad valorem tax does that apply to the entire property, or can it apply to just a portion? Like if I'm running my lawnmower business out of a shed and I'm only making business on that property, wouldn't that be restrictive to that place?
How can I reply to this thing? Go reply right here. Property tax. Property tax. There you go. I need to go back to whoever the commissioner is and say, hey, you guys have this property tax here, and it's talks about the internal to the exterior boundaries, blah, 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 ceded to the United States. Has this property been ceded to the United States of America? If it never has been, then remit all the ill-gotten gains. If it has never been ceded, then give me back all the taxes.
So what about the authenticated birth record? That's been ceded to the United States.
It's a pledge.
So that property was.
It's a pledge.
But not the actual certificate. Well, I guess it would be the certificate, wouldn't it?
It's a pledge. Ancient system of pledges. Mendel House talked about that. It's a pledge. A pledge cannot be undone. We pledge our lives, honor, and sacred. What do they say in the? We pledge our lives, property in sacred honor.
Yeah.
Fortune.
Is that the fortune? Yeah, I can't remember what it says at the end. So a pledge is the difference between a donation and a pledge. If I say, okay, I'll donate to you, and I don't donate, they can't come after me. But if I pledge it, they can come after me with force to honor the pledge. The pledge is enforceable, a donation is not. That's the difference.
Is that why they accept the W4s, or not the W4s, but the 1040Vs?
I don't know that
you're
it's
not
a
pledging
pledge.
them?
Well, no, with a 1040V, they can put it on your ledger, on your IRS ledger.
I see.
What someone, I think Pastor has spoken to them. They need a 1040V so they can ledger the amount to your IRS transcript.
Do you write a value on there?
No, I leave it blank and just tell them to do it.
Oh, I gotcha.
So I don't know the full value of whatever that account is.
Right.
SmokingBaby, did you say ask if the property has been ceded to the United States
of America? It's a link I just put in there. Property tax. Family talks about it.
Okay.
When you say the property, are you talking about the block and lot number or the address? That's the distinction I'm considering.
You can type in that phrase into Google, a portion of interior, exterior, that little core chunk of building, and put your state name in there, and it's all the same. And it has to do with this state. In this state means blah 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 blah. So is the property you have in this state of Kentucky? Has it been ceded to the United States of America? If it's not, it's not in the state of Kentucky, which is a United States district. It's still down in the territory where they cannot add ad valorem tax to private property. If it's private property, there's no ad valorem tax. Same thing with a consumer good use of the automobile. There's no ad valorem tax. If it's a commercial car, they charge you that registration fee, which is an ad valorem tax using private property for commercial use on the public roads for private gain commercially, so they can charge an ad valorem tax when it's used in commerce.
Are they using a specific definition of private property?
No, they're using a specific definition of in this state.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Same thing with being a resident. Anyone in this state for more than 180 days is presumed to be a resident. However, the presumption may be overcome by sufficient evidence that they're in the state temporarily. Even Arizona's own residence language has in this state versus in the state. Same thing with California. Look up what definition of resident means. They have those in this versus in the. Very tricky. So I'm
resident alien.
Primary thing identified. President thing identified. Yeah. Res thing identified.
So we're supposed to be using in this state.
In the state.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm only here for a day. I haven't even been. I'm only here on the earth for one day. So there's no way I could be here 180 days.
You know, if they ask you, you could always say, "Well, I just got here today."
The Bible says a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as a day. On the day I sin, I shall surely die. So I'm not dead yet. So I'm still in my day, away from my domicile of origin in the kingdom of God. I'm only here temporarily to sojourn on the planet for a day. When he takes my breath away, my day is done. And he's faithful to forgive my sins if I let him know my stupid oaths and stupid sins before the end of my day. Well, then he's faithful to forgive my sins. If the father or the husband of the wife or the daughter learns of stupid oaths made by the daughter or the wife before the end of the day, the father can nullify those stupid contracts. The women get all upset. Oh, there's patriarchy. There's patriarchy. I said, I'm perfectly happy to be the bride of Christ. And I tell him all my stupid shit I do. So he's faithful to nullify the stupid shit I've done. He's faithful to do it. So I'm happy to be the bride of Christ. Forgive my sins while I'm here for my day, away from the kingdom of God, my domicile of origin. So I'm only here for a day. Get it? I'm sojourning for a day. That's what
I put what my AI search engine gave when versus in the state versus yeah, I just put that in the chat. It's kind of interesting.
There's also a Dask Law. If you go to a Dask Law and the Wayback Machine, he has in this state versus in this state as well. A Dask Law. You guys know a Dask Law? Alfred Dask.
I'm not familiar with that.
Probably still find him. Just Alfred Dask Law. Let's see what pops up. All right, time to feed the cats. They get to see one set of cats today. They're going to be pissed.
You know, I want to say about Hadassah. She's pretty smart lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was talking about on how things become commercial because of the FCC requirements, like on your phones and stuff. You know, your computer software and stuff like that. That's what makes it all commercial. And so, as far as like, you know, taxing or whatever the case is, that's where the tax generates from. At least that's my understanding. But man, that lady is so freaking smart, man.
That's one way. There's other ways.
Yeah. More than one way, right?
She is very smart, but she's not very practical in the way she applies things, in my opinion. Just, you know.
She's abstract with it.
Yeah.
I have an FCC number for my name.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
SmokingBaby?
No.
That's the one you should have, baby. That's a good name. I like it.
Could get one. Yeah. So I can communicate with the federal government. My FCC number.
Yeah. How do you acquire something like that?
Just say it's called an FCC registration number, a FERN, FRN. Just say get a FCC registration number in Google. I'll walk you through it.
Well,
because that way they know who I am. I'm always this. They don't know who we are. I keep saying that. They don't know who we are. So anytime I get a chance to register my name, so they know who capital I am, happy to do it. It's their fiction anyway.
Yeah, they got to be able to communicate with you, right?
Same reason I opened a business gateway, the postal service business gateway. So I have a customer relation ID and a mail ID. So I have a contract with the postal service. I put my credit min number. I can get the postal inspector general to do something because I have a contract with them because of my cred and mid number.
So that's just a office at the post office.
No, it's a post office page. At the bottom of the USPS.com, there's a business gateway. Create a register. You use an email to get into the business gateway.
Yeah, that postal office is pretty interesting. Even the stuff I've come across in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, Yeshe goes into it pretty deeply. Jesse. Yeah, Rob Ryder talked about getting an FCC number way back in the day.
So with respect to the drones, aren't we supposed to have some kind of a ID number with your drone? If you use a drone,
I don't know why. I don't know why. I know they want you to.
I think I read something like that a couple months ago that they were encouraging people to register their drones with the FCC or something.
Yeah, so they can track who's looking, so they hunt you down.
Oh yeah, my bro said that was about the bigger ones and next to the airport. If you're next to an airport, they don't want you to run around.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's stupid. People doing stupid shit like that, putting people in danger. People can't rule themselves, and they rule by somebody.
Yeah, I was on a call one night where Hadassah actually talked you through the FC's, the registration you were just talking about for the FCC.
I've been registered since 2004. Guys, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go.
And you get an FRN number, is it called?
FCC registration number.
Is the registration accompanied with any fee? Do you remember?
No. Nope, no fee. No fee.
Did you count 4 cats? Is that how many cats you have?
No, I have 11 at this point. Another mama cat came by and had babies. They're abandoning their cats everywhere out here.
You have 11? We have 8.
That's why I need my cat ranch. Probably get 2 different houses to take care of these cats. Different people, caretakers.
Did you make little deed titles for them?
The cats, they have chips. They have a chip in them. So I can put an ag lien on them.
You do a UCC, non-UCC trust?
Non-UCC, ag lien.
Yeah. So what do they cost you? About $2,000 to $3,000 each per year?
No, it's $29 for the chip. Oh,
I'm talking about to feed, to keep the maintenance of the stewardship up.
Yeah, I just have a cost already associated with them for how much I think they're worth. $1 million each. $1 million each.
Yeah, you got to hypothecate some reasonable value.
No.
Maybe you could start your own cat birth certificate registration system.
The chip does that.
Juanita and the kids.
They are like little pharaohs, you know.
I just don't have the heart to send them to a gulag where they'll be destroyed. There's so many cats that are abandoned around here, Pinal County. It's sad. Asshole people. Especially during COVID, people went and got pets, and then COVID ended, and they got rid of the pets. That betraying their trust. It's terrible. But anyway, so that's the FCC number.
Yeah, apparently them cats can get pregnant while they're nursing their current litter, so they can be prolific.
Oh yeah, I know.
Our household went from 1 to 12 in just a few months.
Same cats or new cats?
No, my brother brought me one. Then it got pregnant by the neighbor cat, and then we had 12. 2 died, and 2 got given to others. And anyway, yeah, 12 in one litter is a lot.
Dang, dude, running faster than cells.
Yeah, we get extra kitten milk and everything for them. So they're healthy anyway.
Is it okay if I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so yesterday I had court. And I had court twice, and I didn't realize that I did. I thought one of the dates was like a few days from now. But long story short, I got pulled over. I think it was in March, and they pulled me out the car. After we went back and forth, and I explained to them that I was just traveling, to get some food. I wasn't engaging in any commercial activities and all that good stuff. So I had asked him to call his sergeant, captain or whatever, and he did. And when he came, he was ready to bust my car window out, and I had my son in the back. So I was like, no, don't bust, the car window out and stuff like that. And they was harassing me to get out the car. So I'm like, okay, don't bust the window. I'll get out the car. Just don't bust the windows. And then they threatened to take my son, and give him the CPS. But I was coming down my apartment complex, and I was having a great time in the car with me and my son. I was about to make a right turn. The cop was in front of me. He kept staring at us and stuff. So he makes his left. I go to the right because that's the way that the restaurant is. This guy does a U-turn and pull me over, corner me in. Once I explained to him that, I didn't have a license because I wasn't this and that. Called like 5 of the cops. Long story short, they put me in jail. I was breastfeeding my 1-year-old, so I was gone away from him for like 12 hours. He did not have any extra milk. And they gave me a ticket. It was a ticket for no insurance, no license, and resisting arrest. And I didn't resist. I need you to get that fan off of me. I need you to get on the other side, Kyrie, because no, I need you to just do that. I'm on the phone. And then so they summoned me to court. I came to court the first time because I didn't want to get a warrant out for my arrest because I didn't have a license, and I'm always traveling with my families, and I didn't have the patience to not be able to assert my rights like I wanted to, when I'm always with my family. So I just went on and got the license.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first court day I went and I explained to her that I wanted to do a motion, OMB, for Brady or something like that, to show the motion of nature and cause or something like that. I put in there. And then I gave them my my DHS paper saying that I wasn't a citizen. So she was like, yeah, okay. So she said something like she was about to give me a personal bond. I'm like, oh shit, this lady is crazy. I didn't really know what to say all the way. So I just was like, no, you don't have to do that. I just want to file the motion, to show, cause or whatever. And she was like, okay, well, while you are, I'm going to give you another court date. But for now, you can't do any driving. I'm like, okay, great. I don't drive. She was like, okay, good. You shouldn't have any problems then. So that was that. And I remember in between that time, a cop had got behind me, in the same city, and because I had rented a light, and like I was paying attention to him. Like soon as he had got behind me and it ran my number, it was almost like he was about to get into a car crash. You know how you're about to get into an accident and you swerve over so you don't get into the accident? It was like he ran the plates, and then to avoid the accident, he swerved back over to the other lane so hard. It was so funny. So I was assuming it was because, I guess she put in that I wasn't whatever. But yeah, so that's that. So I had court again for them yesterday, and I didn't know. I thought it was a few days because they sent me another letter, but they changed the judge for the same shit. I'm like, why would they send me this? I said I was in the citizen and whatever I did the first time. So that's that. And then I had another case there for landlord tenant for my place here, because a few months ago I had to do a recertification, and I did it differently from the other times that I had done it. So this time they didn't give me a lease. I have not received a lease since I gave them all of my applications and stuff like that. So they tried to evict me, but I didn't get an eviction letter until the 10th of last month. But it said that they wrote the notice of claim to try to recover the property April 17th.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm like, wow, why didn't I get it? Why did it didn't come to me so late? So I was thinking like maybe they tried to corner me, because they gave me, once I got it, it was 7 days later that I had court. So I really didn't have enough time I could have, but I didn't, I didn't really try, but, they didn't give me enough time on that. What else am I thinking? What else am I trying to say? And this time on the eviction for the landlord tenant, there was not a judge on it. There was just the attorney and the clerk trying to get me into court. So I sent them let me tell you exactly what I sent them. And this was on the day of court, like a hour and a half before court, because I'm not going in fucking court. Once I, realized how corrupt and what exactly was happening, I'm not going in this. Disgusting. So this is what I said. Oh, here it is. Let's see. I gave them a declaration for ratification of commencement of action to provide delegated authority from the attorney and the clerk. Is what I gave them hour and a half before court. And in a memorandum, I gave them a memorandum too. Let me see, what did I do with it? And I gave them that to go along with that. Here it is. Here's the memorandum. I said memorandum in support, declaration for ratification of commencement of action. I have two Bible verses here, Luke 11:46 and Luke 5:2. I also, okay, this is what I said. I said, could you turn that down a little bit, please? Turn it down a little bit, please. I said, this memorandum in support of the caption declaration comes before the court because NHF1 may not direct litigation and hire any attorney unless sanctioned by its governing authority. Example, majority of the board of directors. A corporation as a fiction creation can only act through its representatives. Further, this fictitious seating arises under the real property actions and proceedings to the evidence that the respondent is an action affecting real property has not been served with evidence of the authority of the plaintiff's attorney or the clerk to begin the action. They may move at any time before answering for as an order directing the production of such evidence. Notice the record does not reflect summons NHF or attorney Paul or E. Rowe has power of attorney, meaning a writing that uses the term power of attorney that grants actual, apparent, and inherent authority to an agent to act in the place of the principal real party in interest. Pursuant to the state of Michigan Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, the definition of LLC reads, etc. And then I have authority of a clerk reads as, etc. The Supreme Court has no legislative authority to license or certify petitioners. The Supreme Court certificates given to bar attorneys is not a license. Article V1, Section 2 of the United States declares that all debts contracted into, etc., etc. And then at the end, I said that Attorney Paul and the clerk confessed the holding title of the esquire. And that's it. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out now how to file a claim and to actually bring suit against everybody, because it's like 10 or like 12 of them involved.
Well, restitution would be one thing. Solving your immediate problem is another thing. So did they evict you?
Well, they tried to. So, the last thing I sent this to the attorney and I sent this to the court, like, hey, like, before you guys, you need to show some authority before you try to do any of these proceedings against me. And I did it an hour and a half before court that day. They gave me 7 days. They gave me 7 days to even say that. They gave me 7 days to even rebut the presumption. But this is after I had already been in a squabble with the management, the leasing company. They had sent me letters. They sent me something, I rebutted it. They sent me something, I rebutted it. I just rebutted everything that they sent me. And, this was the final thing that I had got, but they had put it in 3 months ago. I'm just not getting it.
You can charge them. You let them know that they evicting you, they're committing a crime, because homeless is a crime. So they're making you homeless. They're committing a crime. They're committing a trespass against you. I put it in the room. Yeah,
and then it said it was for income. We did the whole income thing. I explained to them that I didn't have any income and why and how, and they went right over that shit.
Okay, so homelessness is a crime. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
So if they're going to evict you, they're committing a crime making you homeless. They can seek restitution.
How about asking for their written delegated authority to administer that estate?
That's what she already said. The attorneys didn't come in with a warrant of attorney authorizing the attorneys to act. Mm-hmm. She read that out. You can contact Health and Human Services, HHS, see if they have a program.
Oh, yeah, something else. I got a letter some months ago saying that they received a federal grant for some sort of green program that they had going on for my complex and another one. And I asked one of the guys who came to work on my place, how much money did they receive? And he said $39 million.
Mm-hmm.
So how the hell is they trying to put me out and they owe me like so? There is so much fraud going
Well,
on.
it's not for. They want to get paid. They want money.
Jesus Christ.
You could
They'd rather evict or kill the creditors rather than pay them out.
yeah.
Yeah, I originally asked them for, full account of the ledger and under the gap principle, and if they can complete a W-9, and they completely ignored that. I think that's when they sent out they sent out the stuff for court. Like, was soon after that. I had no idea though. I was rebutting everything. Like the first time, it took a little minute, but after that, I was rebutting everything within 72 hours.
Yep.
They wouldn't give you a W-9?
No, they wouldn't fill it out and send it back. Nope.
Yeah, so it's just do an affidavit
give
to the
them-
IRS.
Did you give them your
Yeah,
W-9?
you got that's fine for that. That's like a.
You
big
said,
fine for
did I
them.
give them a W-9?
Yes.
Yeah, I gave them the form. You mean, is that what you mean?
They have her
No.
social. They have her social.
Yeah, they have all my stuff.
Well, I mean, and just going back to Hadassah, she said, like, if you create your own W-9 and you provide that, it's like they're compelled to give you theirs because it's kind of like, you show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Well, they don't. You just write an affidavit that they refuse, and it's a $500 fine to the IRS.
Then they can audit them and all kinds of shit because they got their hooks in them.
Yep. If you were take a white piece of paper and write consumer purchase, consumer credit transaction, pay to whoever. How could you do it? To pay to the company. Pay to the company whatever the amount of the lease for the year is, and credit the same to your account number.
Wait a minute. You said I could do what? Create what?
Just write up a money order on a white piece of paper.
A letter of credit, right?
Yeah, you just there's a letter of credit or a money order. Pay to whoever, whatever amount of dollar amount. It's consumer purchase, consumer credit transaction at the top. Pay to whoever, whatever, $5,000, $2,000, whatever it is for the year. $10,000, whatever.
So give them a gift?
No, we're saying pay to them a certain amount of money to pay for the lease.
Oh.
Then you write 40 stat 411 and 48 stat 112 and public law 7310. Given for a patent right. By, I don't know if you're capturing all this. I guess it's recorded. By,
yeah.
I know. I was born in Alabama. By property of the state of Alabama, birth certificate number for your name as Sestui. And over in the memo line, you write full accord and satisfaction, full acquittance and discharge.
I like that.
50 USC 4305B2.
Say again, please. Run that back for me one more time.
It's recorded.
I know, but I'm taking notes, and I just got on the call.
Oh, I don't know what you heard.
The last thing that you said.
50 USC 4305B2.
There you go. There it is. Thank you.
That's full acquittance and discharge. And by the signature being property of the state of Alabama, BC number, that's the surety, the birth certificate surety. For your name as Stewie in the memo line. It would be full accord satisfaction, full acquittance and discharge, 4305B2, account number, whatever the address is. You put the address down there for the whatever mailing address you got.
What about the?
How would she do the enforcement on that, Sean?
Well, you're gonna hand them a copy and have them sign off on a copy. Otherwise, if they don't do that, you would just mail it to them, certified mail return receipt, certificate of mailing. And on my copy, whatever I'm putting in there, I put a stamp on my copy, either front or the back, and have the postal clerk round stamp my copy, the stamp on my copy showing the date and time, along with the certified mail return receipt, certificate of mailing. Along with it, you could even put you could even print a certificate of mailing on the back of your copy, and they just have them fill out the certificate of mailing on the back, print it on there, fill it out. The postal clerk will put the PVI, the payment, $1.45, $1.65, whatever it is now, and they'll round stamp it showing your certificate of mailing on the back side of the instrument. You put it in the envelope. Certified mail return receipt.
So you're saying that makes it monetizable?
No, it shows proof of service. Shows proof that you tendered.
Right. Like many of us have done these things, and we have often run into issues of enforcement. That's, I guess, what you're speaking to. But
I think enforcement happens in a courtroom.
If you needed that, is that what you're saying?
Do a 1099-B.
How would I go after them for the other?
But before you go trying to bleed somebody, how about getting your life set up first? And you want to go vendetta on them, and you don't even have a place to live. I think the priorities are out of line. But
well, actually, I do.
You have an eviction pending, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't have did this without like a backup just in case it didn't work. It's just like I had to
Well, the back attacking them as a backup is not solving your place, having a place to eat, shit, and sleep. I think that's more important.
No, I'm saying like I have another place,
Is this conversation being recorded?
Yeah, it's recorded.
Cool.
Yeah, I just knew that, they were asking me for income, and I knew that from what I was learning that I didn't have any, so I decided to enforce that this time.
What are you enforcing? They're asking you for income?
Yeah.
How is that a crime? How is that a tort, asking you for income?
You said how is that a crime?
How is it a crime or a tort? They're asking you for income.
Well, they're asking me for something. My verbiage is not. I'm not well versed, but they're asking me for something that I can't provide because I'm not a corporation.
How is it a crime? How is it a tort?
Oh, what they're doing, correct?
Yeah. How is they're asking for a crime something wrong?
They're violating my rights, asking me for
what rights?
Offers to you.
Boom.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I was making the suggestion that they're only sending you offers, most likely.
I don't know what they sent her. I don't know who's asking for their income. I don't know what even the context is, but
Yeah, well, specifically they're asking for.
on an application they're asking you for that. Where are they asking you for it?
Hold on 1 second.
If they have a right to collect the debt as per a contract, then as Sean said, you got to tender payment.
Okay.
And how would you suggest that she tender payment?
Yeah, it says it's a demand for possession, non-payment of rent is what it was.
Well, take that piece of paper, write up a tender on the back. Like I said, consumer purchase, consumer credit transaction, pay to whoever, however much for the year.
They didn't put the correct amount. If that's the case, they didn't put the correct first on what they put on it was an amount that I knew that I didn't even, owe. But
why do you care? Why do you care? You're writing up a white piece of paper and putting numbers on it. Why is it important to you? Give them what they want. Exactly. Give them exactly what they want. The symbols that they put on the demands, that's the same symbols you put on the back. Pay to whoever, that same symbol number. Done in good faith.
The corporate landlord.
Don't necessarily pay.
I actually already wrote on it. I don't even know if I have like a clean one. I returned it for dishonor.
Oh no. I don't know why you guys do this. I always make copies of everything.
Good to agree with thine adversary.
I do make copies. I have copies of everything, but for me to write on this and not get a copy of it first would be strange. I have to find it. But right now I'm just seeing stuff that I wrote on already.
May I ask a quick question real quick? Hey, SmokingBaby, you said that you had posted something in the chat about homelessness, like making somebody homeless being a crime. I was just like searching by word search. I did a word search on eviction and homeless, and I wasn't finding that specific post. Can you tell me what I can search it under?
I just posted it in the room.
Like just earlier, within the last 20 minutes? Okay.
Yes. The video, someone saw about the Supreme Court said homelessness is a crime.
Oh, I see it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, SmokingBaby. To the person, the lady that was just speaking, I was just curious. She mentioned that she was trying to discharge something related to rent, and I was just trying to ask, was it a corporate landlord or under a management agency? I yield.
I do think it's under a management agency. I have the original. I have my first lease that I actually ever signed from 2016. It says, and at the top it says a model lease for subsidized program, and it says it's like a legacy LLC. But when I spoke to the guy who told me that it was a $39 million, he told me that it was a management company who owned other properties. If it was, did that answer the question?
Yes, because I'm in a similar like situation where I'm trying to figure that out. Because my landlords potentially, I was told by a previous property manager, they're under a corporation, and I was told many years ago, using negotiable instruments, a gentleman told me from one of the original Crack in the Code books, if you guys remember years ago, with that old technology where they had the promissory notes or the bonds, they were saying the landlord, if they knew what they were doing, they could deposit that into their bank account. But they said they had to be under a management agency or corporation. I was also allegedly informed, you guys can help me out here, this is for anyone who may be knowledgeable, that if it's a corporate landlord, they're supposed to have access to the treasury. I'm assuming management agency as well. These are the differences between a private landlord versus someone you have your own contract with, or they don't have any documentation. This is different. So I just wanted to give my insight that if the person that works in the corporate office, you may want to look for the individual that's the chief financial officer, or they could be acting as the trustee. If you can find out the bank that they deal with, this is the research that I'm doing, because some years ago I sent the negotiable instrument to my landlord. I paced myself, they refused the negotiable instrument, which, you know, according to UCC 3-603, which is codified in Michigan, look it up for your own state, refusal is discharge. UCC 3-603, Section B. In Michigan, it would be MCL 440.3603, Section B, from the merchant. So we're trying to figure out, too, how to and get these things enforced when they refuse to accept. But another issue is that the person that works in corporate may not understand how to process these instruments or whatnot. So I'm hearing about new information. That was good info. Someone who mentioned about the pay to the order of, because I have a document from years ago where there's a guy, if any of you are familiar with David Young, where he showed how he converts like promissory notes or issues a promissory note and gets a medallion signature stamp done at the bank. But a lot of people that I'm asking related to this type, that study this type of information, are not familiar with the medallion signature as far as discharging debt. At least people that I've met so far, it isn't a lot. But that is one important area I think we can tackle, because my landlord has admitted to me that they have a mortgage, and my my particular unit that I'm leasing, you do a 12-monthly lease, a 12-year lease. A 12-month lease. They mentioned they still have a mortgage, and they sent a letter some years ago to the residents. They encourage you to pay on time because they get behind in the mortgage they have on the property. But what I'm understanding, the lease agreement is a form of a promissory note, which is a negotiable instrument. There's a way to properly endorse it, and it can be offset. And it's just trying to find the right avenues, the right person that knows how to properly process that instrument to credit your account. Another thing, what I'm learning is some people, you can put the Treasury Direct number on the instrument and have the funds wired to your Treasury Direct account. But,
well, in that case, yeah.
So I'm just going to wrap things up. I haven't done this yet, but these are some things that I'm researching I think could be beneficial to a lot of people that are still renting, because
just leave it like it is.
Because in this country, a lot of people that rent, these corporate landlords, they say predatory, using predatory practices and raising rents astronomically to make people, it's leading to more people becoming homeless and poor and being evicted. And if that's another way we can master that, that would help free a lot of people, because that's how they use the banking financial system to keep many enslaved. I yield.
You could possibly use a 1099-B from your Custodian if you have one, or your social, to whoever they are, with the social as the QSIP number and the account number down there with all the information about who the recipient is, and a memo line down there for whatever lease or whatever terms and conditions, and a market value for however much the lease is. Give that a whirl. 1099-B.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Again, I lost the signal. Come back.
Use a 1099-B from your Custodian or your social as an EIN to them, recipient, and their EIN, with a social as a QSIP number, with a market value, whatever the lease is, with all the information about the lease down in the description, the account number down there, CUSIP numbers are social without dashes. See if that doesn't trigger something.
It just gives you capacity to transfer the commodity of the credits through the 1099B is what he's explaining.
Okay.
It works fine.
Would that be attached to an A or OID, or would this be by itself, since there's many variations with the 1099 documents I yield?
We never do an OID ever. Never do one. It's the IRS's job to complete an OID and return it to you if that's what happens on the IRS side. The 1099B typically kicks out an OID if you have an existing financed account. We don't fill out OIDs. At least I'm never going to do it. I know too many people in jail.
So what could I did I think I wrote on the original one. What could I do instead? Or yeah, what
1099B, I just said it.
Okay. For the amount that they, not the amount that they put, the amount that you said calculate the months and the rate of the rent and stuff like that.
Whatever the full amount for the whole year is.
So you were saying that you had appointed someone at the IRS to take care of filing those forms for you due to the fact that you didn't you're not real familiar with the Internal Revenue Manual. Is that what you were saying earlier, Tom?
No, I don't know the Internal Revenue Code well enough to sign anything under penalty of perjury. Therefore, I'm appointing you to do it, Mr. IRS agent, whoever. It's my intention to be in voluntary compliance. However, I in good faith not signed these penalty of perjury, because even Reagan says what did Reagan say about impossible to understand? I can't remember. What did Reagan say? Impossible to understand. No. Come on. I'm trying to find an open tab. Reload. Okay. What's over here? What does it know? Have you guys have heard something about is the company in the red? You know, if someone's in the red, like your account is in the red. You guys have heard that phrase before?
Yeah,
make sure
absolutely.
I'm sure I'm not in a Mandela effect. I told other people about it. No, I've never heard it before. You go, what? In the black versus in the red? No, I don't know. What the fuck?
No,
Someone had filled out it.
That's common vernacular in business lingo.
Yeah, someone had filled out a ledger, and the balance account was parentheses around the number in red. And I go, if I look at this and it says it's in the red, you're in debt. Well, no, and try to explain it right. You go, why is it a negative number in red in the balance column? And they kept pushing back like they were married to the idea of that column being parentheses red. I go, holy shit. On my bank account, if I have a positive amount, it's a positive number. If I'm overdrawn, it has a negative number in the balance account. Well, you know, blah, blah, blah. I go, no. I had the hardest time getting through this bullshit be-right-itis thing. They just kept pushing back, wanting to be right about the way they did it. I'm going, this accounting is going to a jury. Juries are dumber than dumb. So you have to make it look like a bank account where you have deposits, deductions, and balance. And it has to be black numbers and negative, no parentheses, no red. That's what a bank account looks like. The only reason I pulled up a tab, I was going to look something up, and sent me off on this tirade in my brain, yelling at the person who's not even here. Anyway, now I forget what we were talking about. My brain had a schism. We were talking about who was saying something before? I'm sorry. No, before the red.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I should have stayed on track.
Something about
Anybody remember?
Speech.
Oh, Reagan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Reagan.
Ronald Reagan and IRS quote. Ronald Reagan addressed the nation. Taxes. Need extra money. Impossible. Quote. Okay. Possible reforms. I keep trying to find it. Plato. That's Plato. I don't want Plato, motherfucker. Find what Reagan saved the income tax. Back from the dead. How Reagan saved the income tax. Whatever. Back from the dead. Da-da-da. Maybe someone else can find it before I do. He says like it's impossible to understand. President Reagan has been outspoken consistent opponent to progressive income tax throughout the public career. Blah 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 blah. Most total income tax would never be greater than 2%. Blah blah blah. We receive progressive Karl Marx. Blah blah blah. There could be no more justification for a progressive income tax. Blah 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 blah. Multi-spread television trade form. Simpson worked to save. Oh. Reagan had a quote about how is incomprehensible or something like that. Anyway, maybe. But I can't sign these forms under, in all good faith, can't sign under penalty of perjury. All right, this incomprehensible and comprehensible.
Reagan said, of course, the federal debt is meaningless. It's incomprehensible. I've taken it.
You talk about the Internal Revenue Code. It's incomprehensible.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan. Why can't I find it? Why don't I have it in my email?
Was it the one that he said the current tax system has come to be unworkable?
Something like that.
It's like a vast, untamed beast soaking up endless hours of work and struggle and an ocean of revenues. It's so incomprehensible that even the IRS can't understand it.
That would be good. You put that link in there? Now, if the president says that, I'm going to agree with the president because I'm certainly not smarter than the president of the United States.
Hey, Smoking Baby, earlier when you were talking about homelessness being a crime, what was the context of that? I missed that conversation. I'd like to understand where you're coming from with what you posted.
Somebody was getting evicted to become homeless. I said, well, if you make me homeless and homelessness is a crime, then you're the one that committed the crime. Now, if I voluntarily become homeless, well, then I committed the crime. But you're kicking me out in the street and you're committing the crime, making me homeless.
Okay, so is the context that they're making you a criminal because homelessness is illegal because they'll arrest your ass for being out in public places?
Exactly. So if they're gonna evict me, they're committing a crime because they can get arrested.
Yeah.
No, okay. They're committing a crime. Forcing someone to commit a crime is a crime itself, right? It's like holding a gun to someone's head to steal some money or something like that. So they're committing a crime.
That's what I was saying. So they're making you homeless, and then you're getting penalized because you're now homeless and you're violating other laws. So now they've made you be liable for the crimes they made you commit by stealing from you in the first place.
It has nothing to do with stealing in the first place. That's not the issue. The issue is evicting somebody is a crime because they're forcing someone else to commit a crime. Because homelessness is a crime, since they're committing the homelessness issue, they carry the primary active degree of fault for the crime of homelessness because they're the one that created the circumstances for that crime to be committed.
Okay, got it.
It's like committing a crime to enforce one or something like that.
Oh no.
I just looked at the video and I wanted to understand the context. That's all. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, someone's trying to evict somebody, and they're tendering payment, and so well, Your Honor, to come in there. Well, homelessness is a crime. They're putting a gun to my head, essentially, forcing me to commit a crime by putting a gun to my head, throwing me out into the streets. So they're committing the trespass. They're violating the criminal homelessness law, whatever it is. Especially when I've tendered payment.
So, quick question. You get evicted. After you get evicted, you get confirmation that what they used to evict you was totally fraudulent, which you've talked about many times before about everything is fraud that they represent. But you get confirmation.
I say everything's a tax. I don't say everything's fraud. I say everything's a tax.
Everything's a tax. So after you get evicted, you realize they used a fraudulent document to get the order to foreclose, and that's what led to the eviction and the loss of all your property and house and life and everything else. Once you get that confirmation, after all is said and done and you're years into the process, how would you recommend going back to reclaim your property once you have the fraud in hand and the proof?
Well, where's your property now?
I was evicted by a gentleman who bought it through a foreclosure.
So where's the property now?
The property is in a confirmation deed to this gentleman who bought it.
So they're supposed to take all the personal property, put it into a storage unit for 30 days.
No, they just put it on trash bags with a bunch of immigrants. Let them into my house. There's probably 7 of them. Probably like one spoke a little bit of English. All just came in with trash bags and removed everything.
Okay. So. Well, did you report theft? Did you make a police report?
Yeah, I'm working on that.
The theft of your property?
A grand larceny.
Let's just tell the cops what it is and have them make the report. Did you have renter's insurance?
Did they give you a receipt for what they took?
This was a home that I owned and was unlawfully foreclosed on and then evicted.
Do you have insurance on the property?
Was insurance? I think it was being paid by the servicer over the last couple
of years. File an insurance claim for the theft for the property. Then see if they don't kick out the value of whatever. You have to create a manifest of some kind of everything that was in there.
Are they not supposed to give a receipt for what they take?
Yeah, they're supposed to. I don't know the circumstances of what happened. If the sheriff came out there, the sheriff should have been there making an inventory of everything taken in or taken out of the property. I don't know what the rules are in your state, but usually if someone's evicted, they have to put all the personal property into a storage unit for 30 days, and then they can charge for that storage unit for 30 days. But after that, it's up to the evicted person to continue either clear out the storage or get it out of storage or continue to pay the rental.
Well, is there not some tax form she could deal with if she had the receipt to claim some funds?
You could do your own quote unquote good faith estimate of all the stuff that was in there, and send them an invoice and put them in default. Let the record show this is the value of the private property that was stolen by whoever got the house, and you have see no facts or evidence. This is not the value of the private property that was stolen. Misappropriated. I would use the word misappropriated.
Yeah.
The house number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And having taken the action you've already taken, you certainly must have all the facts and evidence readily at hand, and even a probate referee determination. Otherwise, this is the value of the property, $650,000. That's what I say, my good faith estimate of everything I own, $650,000. Or more. I don't know. I don't know how big your house is, what was happening. And then send them a notice that you gave them 3 days. So you could say 3 days is a sufficient amount of time, having taken the actions you've already taken. And your failure to respond to rebut the affidavit that I've seen no facts or evidence that the value of all the private property and misappropriated by you or whoever their name is a value of $650,000 United States, 650,000 United States dollars, USD. Failure to respond shall constitute a nil decet judgment. And authorization my authorization to file a UCC1 using whatever name, whoever's name it is, using the name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoever the name is, and send it off to them. However, if you need more time, if you need more time, please write a letter requesting more time, and I will consider your request appropriately. I will consider your question appropriately. Yeah, I've considered your request, and I don't find it appropriate. You've already taken the property. You've already done all this. Yeah, so it's not appropriate. Therefore, this is your nil decet judgment. We'll be filing a UCC1 and all kinds of tax forms. You could even, if someone ordered the taxable termination, the judge ordered the foreclosure, that's a taxable termination. So you have the value of the note at maturity, you have the value of the property at current market value, the value of all your private property, and then you have the value of the payoff quote from the servicing company, both sides of the ledger, for the full amortization payoff quote. And you could make a claim against the court for that, send it to the court administrator. Okay, you did the taxable termination, and here's the value of the estate. Here's your invoice. You have 3 days to produce the restitution.
That's a very powerful process he just laid out there, folks. I think we'll transcribe that.
But you realize you could do it to for the court, we get the value of the house, all the value of the house and all the maintenance, all the upkeep and everything you did for the house to keep that house kept up. Since you weren't the owner, you were the tenant. Obviously, they evicted you. Then you have the servicing company would be a separate W-4. And then you have the full maturity value of the promissory note would be a third W-4. And then you would go after the person who acquired the house. You could do another W-4 against him with all the value of everything for W-4 against them. And then you have to create an invoice and everything like that. Put them in nil decet judgment. And especially if you get a nil decet judgment and you take it to small claims court and the clerk looks at what you did and they see it as an actual nil decet judgment. Nil decet means they didn't respond and so they're guilty. If the clerk takes it to the judge and the judge sees that it's a proper nil decet judgment with certified mail, return receipt, certificate of mailing, and with a third party, I would have a third party mail everything to do presentment. And there's a third piece I need to put in the room. Whoever the third party that does your presentment, this notary presentment everyone talks about, but notaries won't do it because notaries get in trouble when they do notary presentments. the third party, you get any third party to do the presentment. You just have to put a petition for service for whoever to do this mailing for you. And in that petition for service, I'll put it in the room. I'll find a copy of one. You have to put exactly all the documents, the unique document number, and every document that's being mailed, the number of pages the document is, the title of the document is, for every one of whatever's being mailed to whoever, and and give them instructions. Mail it to this party, certified mail, return receipt, certificate of mailing. Send me the invoice. Send me an invoice for the postal fees. And after 3 days, if they don't respond after 3 days, fill out this nil decet instrument. If they do respond in 3 days, mail their response to me at this address, and you will go back and forth and back and forth. And at the bottom of this petition, you're stating at the bottom that the person mailing has not held themselves out to be an attorney, has not practiced any law. They don't have a financial interest in it, in the issue, because if they have a financial interest, they'll likely lie. So you need someone, a disinterested third party. Petition for service. There we go. Petition for protest service. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. So I, your name here, do affirm, to the best of my knowledge, the foregoing statement is correct and contains a true account of all the facts and circumstances of the issue, and Sean Scott Haggerty, Notary Public of and for the state of Florida, is one we know not to be a bar certified attorney licensed to practice law in any jurisdiction, has not given any legal advice, has not accepted fees for legal advice, has not held himself out to be a lawyer or an attorney, has not provided assistance in the preparation of the above referenced documents, has no interest in the presentments herein, and that Sean Scott Haggerty, Notary Public and for the state of Texas, is not a party to this action and is only acting in an authorized capacity as liaison to communications between the parties. That's the caveat at the bottom. So I'll download this. What's this? What is this called? Petition for protest. How do I get it in? Let me open it up and put it in a PDF form. You guys can make it a Word form. Downloads. Save here. Go here. Open. Enable editing. Alt F as. Downloads. Save as PDF. Standard publishing. Save. Okay. Go Control W. What's this? F bar. Leave it there. This is how you protect the whoever's doing the presentment. So then, because if someone takes up your documents and starts deciding what to do with them, it could prejudice your rights, and that's what creates the unlawful practice of law, UPL, unlicensed practice of law, or unlicensed practice of law. That's how people get in trouble. Go back over to my email. Let's go back here. S petition for protest service PDF.
So it's nice to add void where prohibited by law on the document.
You could. It's a
Yeah,
private
you can
contract.
put it real. You can put it real small like they do in micro print and a very light color ink.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just a private contract. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to say that. Void prohibited by law. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? What did I do with my phone? What did I do? How am I a retard? I'm sitting right here. How did I do this? I'm on a headset, so I don't know where my phone is. Man. Oh, okay. I found it. Got buried. All right, going to my phone now. Letter. Back here, go back. Petition.
I think most of their documentation is void where prohibited by law at this point.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm just referring to the quasi nature of the government and how it operates.
Oh, like quasi crimes?
Well, they're all engaged in treason. They're all engaged in treason. That's all this. It's funny. Government's view on the economy would be summed up in a short phrase. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, seize it. Stops moving, subsidize or seize it. That's funny. I need to start recouping recouping from the national debt. 100 million a day. W4. What is this thing here? Huge lines of New York Police Department en route to DC. That's weird. How do they know they're going to DC? There's my petition in there, my style of petition. But it doesn't have to be a notary, it could be anybody. And whoever sends the petition, you're going to have copies of whatever the package is. So whoever puts together the package of whatever is being presented is going to make 2 copies, one to send and one for the sender. And then with this petition filled out, and the sender is going to do an attestation, an affidavit saying these however many pages are true and accurate copies of pages that I posted to so-and-so and so-and-so according to the petition on this date and time, and attach these certified mail green card, little green stub, and a certificate of mailing, and wait for the green card to come back to show that it was actually posted. And you can put on the envelope. You also put on the envelope for the person doing the presentment. I have a stamp that says content notarized mail on the outside of the envelope. I had a little stamp made, content notarized mail, or you could write it in there, content notarized mail. Yep. But you could even write content notarized mail above the name of the recipient. You put content notarized mail, the name of the recipient, and then the mailing address to the sender. When it's above the name, it's not part of the mailing address. I mean, this is the notary protest process, just to let you know. This is the middleman piece. And if you understand the middleman piece, you can work backwards to see how you get to the original pieces that you want presentments to be done to the recipient addressee. Does that make sense? You're creating a chain of title. Because someone could get a presentment and say, "Oh, there was nothing in the envelope." And better than that little 3817 certificate of mailing, if you get the 3877, the firm book certificate of mailing, you can have the clerk put down the weight. The weight of the envelope could also go into that certificate of mailing to show that it had some weight to it. So it's not an empty envelope. And if you did it priority mail, everyone knows what this is a standard value of what the priority mail envelope weighs. And so, any weight over the standard priority mail envelope, and you could even annotate if you did the big square one, if you did the one with a cellophane window. There's a certain product number for these priority mail envelopes. You could annotate the priority mail envelope. The sender can annotate that in the tracking number on the column number, first column on the 3877. What kind of envelope it was or is that was mailed.
Nice.
Jimmy,
Would you
see?
suggest adding like a packing slip as well, maybe, or is that too much?
So I would do a bill of lading.
Nice.
You could have make a bill of lading for both packets for the lady or dude who's doing the mailing, and the bill of lading on the for the one being sent to the recipient inside the envelope. And if you have if you've gotten a DOT number for a private carrier, you can put a DOT number in there. You can put the value of how much time it took you to. So when you do it, I kick myself in the ass for not keeping better track of this whole homeowner association bullshit that started a while back. Keeping track of all your time and everything, of the value of what you put into this document, that's the value of that document that you get to charge them for it. When you win, you get restitution for all that time commodity you put in there. And because when I do my documents, you can look at the properties of the Word document, and it'll show what time the document was started and what time the document was saved for that particular session. And you can take a copy of the properties of the document, and you keep track of each time you go back in to add more to it. And that little the property panel for the Word document shows the date and time started and last saved. And so Microsoft Word will keep track of your time for that value of that document. See what I mean? I think you just go to the document and you can just right click it. So you go here. Where's my mouse? There it is. You go to new content, link. Where's it? Control Enter. No, not Control Enter. Nope, Control C. How do you get properties now? I don't like new Word. I don't like new Word. File, properties, save, export, options. Display, proofing, same, accessibility, advanced, customer, then added size, advanced.
So when you're calculating these time, one is doing that in the capacity of secretary? Is that how you're explaining it?
No, just keep track of your time commodity that you put into writing these documents, because you can charge a fee for it. Because had they not done what they did, I would have that time for doing real things in my life instead of dealing with you freaking pirates out there. Let me go back over here. Let's go see. We'll right click here. Yeah, when you're inside the file system, inside Explorer, if you right click on the document, there's properties at the bottom, and it shows created, modified, and accessed. So you have to go to your file system and right click on the document. It shows the created date and the modified date. Does that make sense? You guys understand what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Catch what I'm saying?
Yeah, we definitely get what you're saying. And then what can you share with us about various capacities when one occupying the
well, you'd be the author.
Appointed administrator?
You're the author.
For the executive office over the estate.
You're the author.
What do you have to say about the capacity?
You cannot hear me?
How we operate?
You're the
different
author.
Capacities.
Can you not hear me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
You're the author.
I can hear you.
We can hear you. You just said you're the author.
Author means authority. That's the capacity, author. Because if I'm anything other than the author, it's not first-hand personal knowledge, is it? Any other capacity would be hearsay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what you guys heard. I use that properties window for when you right-click on a file in the file system and go to properties. When the HOA back in 2021 through 2023 left a trash bin that the HOA contracted. And the HOA contracts the trash bins here, so it's the HOA property, and it blew down the street in a haboob, and so it blocked my driveway. So I pulled it out of the street and put it off the sidewalk between my house and the house next door, and I left it there because it's not mine. If I take that bin and put it behind my gate, I would be in possession of stolen property, absconding with someone else's property, and that would be a crime. So I just left it there, and they started charging $50 a month. Oh, the blue bin can be visible from the streets. $50, $50, $50. So I wrote to them in a billing error dispute, letting them know, yeah, we got this picture here about the blue bin, and the blue bin for this house here's the serial number. I took a picture of it. The number on the blue bin that Eric Pedersen's complaining about is this serial number, and the next door neighbor's blue bin is this serial number. It says the blue bin you're complaining about doesn't belong to me, and you're charging $50 a month, and you also state that you can come on the property to fix the violation, but you haven't done so, and yourself at $50 a month. I need to know whose blue bin, the one you're charging $50 a month for HOA storing HOA property on my lease, since you decided that blue bin belongs to me arbitrarily. I need to know who that bin belongs to. And they wrote back, there's no power of attorney for you, so we can't talk to you. I did a billing error dispute. They told me to fuck off. And so I said, okay, fine. I gave you notice and opportunity to cure, and you had the opportunity to cure by your own letter. You can come onto the property and drag that blue bin away. So I went ahead and charged them $50 a day, starting the 18th of October, 2021, all the way through January 2023, $50 a day with consumer price index adjustment, with a statutory interest rate on top of that. Every state has a statutory interest rate for debt. Every state has it, and it can change by year. And so now I'm going to go after the HOA, plus the 3 hours it took me to write the letter, do all the research and everything about HOA laws. So I'm going to hit him for Trinzi Pagliaro, value of human life. Here's the total value of what I had to do to get you guys to stop trespassing on my property with your shit, so you can be unjustly enriched using my property as a storage area for HOA property without my consent. You guys are committing trespass on my property for profit and gain. After I protested, you told me to fuck off. So now here you go. Here's your fuck off. It's going to be a huge amount.
And charging you for services not rendered, right?
No, they're committing a trespass on my lease and charging and assessing $50 every month for their blue bin being visible from the street when they have the ability to fix the problem already, and they admit to that. it's an aggravated trespass at this point. And this is part of the thing that's going into this HOA thing. I'm having the right for the executrix. Once I give them notice and opportunity to cure, and they don't fix it, now it's an aggravated thing. I gave you notice and opportunity to cure, and you said fuck off. So guess what? It's aggravated. Now it's trouble. I can't even do treble damages if I wanted to, but it might get a little ridiculous. But I do, yeah. HOA. I hope what I said makes sense. My griping about this HOA.
And that includes, because it's aggravated and willing, then that includes jail time and all kinds of stuff. That type of stuff.
Becomes a felony. And I couldn't do anything with the blue bin because it doesn't belong to me. I would be tampering with someone else's property. That would be a crime for me to do anything with it.
It sounds like they're escalating too, without cause. They just make a situation worse and worse and worse. They can't do just basic housekeeping and maintenance of their bins, and they're turning it into just ridiculousness.
And they volunteered at this point. Fuck them. They voluntarily willfully know. Go ahead.
I just wonder if they have too much time on their hands. Not enough real fires to put out or something.
Well, HOAs are governed by Karens and Darrens, right? Karens and Darrens, people who have trying to validate their otherwise twilight, useless existence as they're 1 foot in the grave, post-menopausal, post-boner days. Now they just want to have, anyone on these HOA boards are a bunch of old fucks trying to validate their existence. And so, B-rightitis, I'm on the board. I'm to tell you what to do. You watch those HOA Karen things. You have them on the YouTube. All these Karen HOA things out there. Karen and Darren. So now they're going to get hit. And it might even attach to the board members. I think I'm going to attach it to the board members because the board members had a duty. And I'll take their fucking house. I'm going to foreclose on their fucking house for the huge amount of value. Foreclose on their ass.
Hey, Smoking Baby, did you read all of their covenants and restrictions?
Oh yeah.
And conditions.
Yeah, there's a rule about the blue trash bin, but it wasn't my blue trash bin. And I told him about it. And the guy who reported the trash bin is the statutory agent enforcing $50 fees. So he has a conflict of interest. He can't even be the statutory agent. And everything he says is a lie. And fuck these people.
I would pay a couple of kids $50 a month to go and toilet paper the HOA president's yard.
That would get back to me. That would be vandalism. Take their money. That makes them cry.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, but I don't want to vandalize the property.
I know a woman who was so mad at some person. I don't think it was connected to HOA, but she got her boyfriend and his friend to go and put like 5,000 forks in the yard of the person to get back at him. He stuck them in the front yard.
That's just, I don't care that much. I want to take their money and put them in jail if I can.
An effort.
A man claimed damage by way of aggravated trespass. I don't know if aggravated is part of the common law crime, but by way of trespass.
Smoking Baby, would you mind just going over? I don't think you had went over what I should do about the cop situation. What'd you say?
What they with?
When I just explained to you, I just had
Hey.
they pulled me out of the car for no tags and insurance, and made me sit in jail for 12 hours and took me away from my son. I'm breastfeeding, and I was away from him for 12 hours. And, I'm not a citizen. I sent them the paperwork. I got the non-citizen paperwork last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, the best way to, I should file a federal lawsuit, correct?
Yeah. That'll be years in the making by the time you get anywhere with it.
Oh, no.
What are you guys doing? So you're charged with what? Obstruction because you wouldn't get out of the car?
They charged me with no license and insurance.
Oh, if it were me, I would go in there and say, "Oh, Your Honor, I'm here to talk about this no license and insurance. Well, Your Honor, I'm ready to plead guilty. However, I just need one thing from you, Honor. Can you order me to contract with the DMV to get a driver's license and registration for the bill? Will you just write an order ordering me to contract with the DMV to get a license and registration? Will you write that order, please?" Says, "I can't. No, I won't." "Oh, Your Honor, please. I really want to plead guilty and get rid of this whole thing, but I need you to issue an order for me to get to contract to get a driver's license and a registration. Will you please do that?" "No, I can't do that." "Well, Your Honor, if you can't order me to get a driver's license and registration, then you can't hold me liable for not. If you can't order me to do it, then you can't hold me liable for not doing it.
Exactly.
But if you do order me to do it, you're going to have to pay for it. If you order it, you got to pay for it.
Then hit them with an invoice for your time in jail.
Oh yeah, time commodity definitely has to be billed because they're cheating the United States out of tax revenue. And the United States has a priority claim under Title 31, 3713, and they're cheating the United States out of time commodity, which is captured by the birth certificate, which underwrites the credit of the United States. So you're cheating the IRS out of internal revenue, out of Social Security taxes. At President rates, $5,000 a minute.
$5,000 a minute?
Yeah, it's $1,400 back in 1984. So you do a consumer price index adjustment for the value of $1,400 in 1984 to the value now, and it's like $5,000 a minute.
Holy guacamole!
The guy was put in jail for 25 minutes and got $25,000 for being in jail for so many minutes, and it turns out $1,400 a minute. That's the value of a human life at a federal court level.
So it probably took him years to get that, like you were saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You said federal court would take some time. I asked you, should I take it to federal court? You said it would be some time.
The guy went to jail unlawfully, and he was awarded $25,000 for so many minutes in jail. It was a federal court. President versus City of Tampa. So he got awarded that much money. But you see, you weren't unlawfully arrested. That's the obstruction charge. But the time commodity in jail is still the time commodity in jail.
I wasn't unlawfully arrested.
You didn't get out of the car.
I did get out because they said they're gonna bust my windows, so I got out so they wouldn't bust my windows.
But initially they said get out of the car, and you didn't.
Oh yeah, hell no. I was like, no, fuck.
That's obstruction.
Okay.
Being difficult. If they order it, okay, I'll get out of the car. There'll be $5,000. Because if they order it, they got to pay for it. Oh, is that an order? Okay, I accept that order. License, registration, insurance. I'll accept that order. $5,000 per order. They order it, they got to pay for it.
Does accepting the order constitute guilt or admittance?
No. No. No.
Okay, good.
You have the unlimited right to contract.
Mm-hmm. So if they order it, they got to pay for it. Just like when I go to McDonald's, which I never do. If I order it, I got to pay for it. $20 for a Big Mac? Well, you ordered it. You should have should have bargained on a price before you ordered it.
Buyer beware.
Caveat emptor. So the going rate for a human life is still $1,400 a minute in $1984.
You could charge extra for overtime. Judge, I wasn't working right now, but you have to pay time and a half.
It's easier just to do the straight time. Instead of 5,000 a minute's enough. Be millions.
So when you say bill them an invoice, what from scratch, what would something like that look like?
Well, they hired you, didn't they? Put you in jail. They put you in the queue.
Yeah.
Okay, W-4. Use the paperwork to show how much of your time commodity they took from you. Write up show the IRS how you did your math. Done in good faith.
You can't ever get that time back.
It's invaluable. It's priceless. Even if you did something wrong, your time commodity does not belong to you. It belongs to the Social Security Administration. Because even if I volunteer to go to work, they still have to pay me. So volunteering or not volunteering is not the issue. The issue is the time commodity has to be paid for. I just want to make sure we pay all the taxes so we can bring down the national debt. That's why we're doing this. I mean, the fact that I get a collateral benefit, that's cool. But I want to lower the national debt. That's my real purpose. Doing my duty. Order, keep records of report. Do the W-4 to lower the national debt.
So, so what you're saying is somebody must have done a purchase of everything that we're going to do in our life.
It's not a purchase. They took your time. It's a per se taking. They have to pay for it. Look up Horn versus Department of Agriculture, Horne, the Department of Agriculture in Wikipedia.
Okay.
It's all on a time and material basis also.
Mm-hmm. So the time value. So if you go to Horn versus Department of Agriculture, go down to look for Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts. Go to Roberts and read his majority opinion. And how did I find that? I don't actually remember. Something to do with agricultural liens.
So that ends up having to do with the taking of somebody's life, taking their time.
Per se taking, without compensation. So now fine, huh? You're not going to compensate me? I'll draw up my own compensation, narc you out to the IRS.
So the value of taking a life.
Taking a life, taking time.
Well, okay, taking the
time commodity. They have actual constructive possession of my time commodity.
Right. So when I said what I meant was like a lifetime, right? So somebody's lifetime, they appear to me to want 100%, to take 100%.
I don't know what that means practically. What situation you're talking about?
Okay. Well, so when you said it like they're taking your time.
It's my private property.
Right. And so you're due compensation for that.
Exactly.
And it sounds to me like a 365-day of the year taking. I don't know any amount of time where they say you're off duty.
Well,
so then
depends if you're in jail or not, versus my driver's license. I charge minimum wage for my driver's license 24/7, 365, W4. Driver's license is employed by driver's license employs a social security number. If for someone in jail, it's $5,000 a minute for human life per Trez event.
That would be in jail or just in custody.
Or under bondage, or under a OR bond, or if you're under bondage of any kind. That's how I see it. And if they don't agree with it, if the party who's getting slammed doesn't agree with it, well, you go argue with the IRS about it. Just say you don't owe that much. It's not my problem. I just report to the IRS, and we don't tell them about it. We only tell the IRS about it with the paperwork we have, which shows they've consumed our time commodity or whatever else. Plus the $5,000 per order, license, registration, insurance. Get out of the car is $10,000. Getting out of the car is $10,000. Breathalyzers, $25,000. Make up whatever. Because the breath of life, what, you're going to take my breath of life? You take my God-given breath of life? Really? That's 25 grand, motherfucker.
Did you hear in Houston that they arrested 50 out of 53 people that were working for Able bail bonds? They were doing some counterfeit, creative bonds.
Creative financing.
Still got 3 of them on the loose.
What were they doing? Just issuing bonds to each other and floating them as securities with no underlying. I wonder what the scam really was. I really didn't get the gist of it.
I think they were probably filling out the 24 and the 25 and 25A bonds and manipulating it somehow. That's just an opinion.
Were they filling out fake bonds?
That had to deal with people that weren't supposed to be in a position to be able to bond out, and they were getting them bonds.
They need someone to actually apply for the bond. Probably weren't doing that.
That reminds me of the movie The Beekeeper a bit.
I don't know that movie. I'll watch it now.
I haven't finished watching the rest of that.
That was a good movie. Really good. Did anyone ever see Revolver with Strahan in it? That's a good one too.
I think I looked at it. I don't know. Sounds familiar. I probably didn't watch it though. Otherwise, I didn't remember. But Revolver.
Yeah, it's all about the ego. It's really cool.
If you hadn't seen Interstate 60, it's a good one to watch.
Oh yeah, that's a classic right there.
U-Turn also. U-Turn.
Who is in U-Turn? I'm trying to remember that one.
I don't remember. I don't know if it's Brad Pitt or not.
I have another question about what we were speaking about. So, what you just explained that I could do and what I could claim, I would go down to the federal court and get a claim slip or something
No.
like that.
No, you're doing a W-4 for your time.
Oh, okay.
So the Horn case referred to it as uncompensated takings. I found the case.
What did Robert? Are you looking at Wikipedia?
I was just doing a basic search. I'm looking for what Robert said, but it just uncompensated takings.
I just posted it. I just posted the wiki page up there.
Okay.
It's poetic what Robert said. Read us some poetry, please. Read what Robert said. It's poetry. So everyone on the call can hear the recording. No volunteers? Chicken.
Oh, opinion of the court? Is that what you want? The opinion of the court? Is it?
Yes.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
If I find my reading glasses, I'll read it here. Just a minute.
Yeah. Somebody.
Okay, well, I'll try without my reading glasses. I have something here. Writing for the majority of the court, Chief Justice John Roberts held that the Fifth Amendment requires the government and its agencies to pay just compensation when they take personal property from citizens. Chief Justice John Roberts began his analysis by tracing the history of personal property from the protection of farmers' corn in 1215 Magna Carta to 1641 Massachusetts Body of Liberties to 1778 editorial by John Jay. Chief Justice John Roberts concluded that personal property has not been given any less protection than real property for at least 800 years, and at the physical appropriation of property gives rise to a per se taking. Applying this rule, Chief Justice John Roberts held that the raisin reserve requirement constituted a physical taking because the government would physically seize the growers' raisins. Chief Justice John Roberts also held the payout from raisin reserve sales do not change the takings. analysis because the courts only consider potential remaining uses of property when evaluating regulatory takings, not physical takings. Chief Justice John Roberts rejected Justice Sonia Sotomayor's contention that the Raisin Reserve requirement is a mere condition on privilege of being in the raisin market. Rather, Chief Justice John Roberts held that selling produce is not a special government benefit that the government may hold hostage. To support its assertion, Chief Justice John Roberts cited a footnote in Latoro versus Teleprompter Manhattan CATV Corp., which theorized forfeiting rent payments would not be a mere condition on the privilege of being a landlord. Chief Justice John Roberts also refused to apply the Tucker Act because that question was already resolved in a Home I. Finally. Oh, Horn. That's Horn 1. Finley. Chief Justice John Roberts refused to remand the case back to the lower court to decide the amount of compensation to which Horn would be entitled, just because compensation for physical takings is a market value of property taken, and the government had already calculated that value when it fined Horn.
All the way back to Magna Carta and John Jay about private property. 800 years. Sotomayor thinks, selling raisins is a privilege, so we can tax it, you commie piece of shit. Fucking Sotomayor.
Right?
No doubt.
God. That's a good case, though. Horn versus Department of Agriculture. I like it. I don't even know how I found it.
It really makes a point. It makes an excellent point, yeah.
Versus her feelings. So it's just a privilege, really. Where's your authority on that, Sotomayor? Freaking, she's a toad. God, she's such a toad. She's as bad as Jumanji Jackson. Well, if the First Amendment keeps us from monitoring the people. Interferes with the government censorship. That's what Jumanji Jackson said recently. Well, but the Second Amendment interferes with our censorship. Exactly, Jumanji. Exactly. She was saying as if like, we should really be able to censor you guys. The First Amendment's interfering with that. She convicted herself with that statement. You guys see that hearing? The oral hearing about the Biden censoring opposition information. The woman that can't decide what a woman is. Jumanji Jackson.
I know who you're talking about. I didn't see that one, but I know who you're talking about.
Let's see if I can't find it.
I didn't see that one, but did you know when they made a ruling not too long ago, it was the lower federal court that found the Biden administration guilty of illegally spying. I don't know if you guys saw that. I did bookmark the article. I don't remember it offhand, but that court, federal court down in Louisiana, I guess along with some other courts of justices, found the Biden administration guilty of censorship. So they have been involved in massive public corruption. I yield.
Takeaways from the Supreme Court on oral arguments. Supreme Court money appeared deeply skeptical in the arguments by the two conservative states, the First Amendment of the bars the government. Justice Jackson lambasted a concern for the First Amendment. Let me see. Free speech final function. Maybe this is at U.S. Let's see here. That was 2020. Was that 2022? No. Jackson. Substantive conversation about the key constitutional protections. Thank you, Senator Jackson says. Freedom of the speech, publication, assembly, the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's at the core of the foundational protection against censorship. It's important to have our constitutional scheme. Oh, how did she flip since 2022? Tries because government is restrained. This is more recent. Supreme Court, CNN. I need to find it. Kintanji, I call her Jumanji Brown Jackson is concerned that the First Amendment is making it harder for the government to censor speech. You can't make this shit up.
Right? Like, these people even like comprehend what's coming out of their mouth.
No, I think some of these people are actually that stupid.
They're educated beyond their intelligence.
Well, she can't tell what a woman is. I'm not a biologist. Fucking retard.
Hey, is that why they killed? Is that why they murdered Justice Scalia?
That whole Scalia thing, it's really strange. What was it about?
Scalia had the goods on everybody.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I think Cheney had something to do with it.
Yeah, Cheney and the Chief Justice Roberts and his little pedophilia thing. You notice how you have Amy Coney Barrett, that piece of shit. I don't like her either. You know, she's adopted kids. And you know, Speaker House has adopted kids. John Roberts has this kid that's not him. All this human trafficking with these with all these kids that aren't theirs. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, dude. And they're all like, you know, so-called judges.
Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney, his adopted kids, and blah blah blah. And they always go down to Haiti to get them.
Some weird stuff going on. Ritual abuse.
Don't let the Clintons hear you say that. Are you?
And Laura Silsby, she's high up someplace now. I think she's in charge of the child. What's it called? That organization, she's in charge of the Missing Exploited Children Foundation. That's Silsby, who was doing the human trafficking down in Haiti. And then you have John Podesta, that piece of shit. He's in charge of when you do this, you get that sign up there. What's it called? They do the sign, so and so's car is missing. You know, some child license plate.
Amber Alert.
He's in charge of the Amber Alerts. That pedophile, human trafficker.
The fucking wolves in charge of the hen house.
Yeah, you ever notice how when that Amber Alert crap comes on your phone, they want you to press accept. Like I like you're in acceptance of that shit happening.
I never do.
And all that, dude.
Hey, Smoking Baby, did you see that Stu Peters interview with that black girl named Allie Carter?
No. What was it about?
She mentioned she claims allegedly she was sex trafficked with Joe Biden, a lot of people by her trafficker. She had to escape. She had got an adoptive mother who was helping protect her. They're currently allegedly going from different states and hiding, but she named a lot of high up people. She said Obama, she said Beyonce in the music industry. She named all these people, and she said she had given Joe Biden fellatio. Interview was on Rumble, but what I did check out the other interview she did when you just brought up about the Amber Alert thing, because I do investigative research into this Pizzagate type stuff, which is real. It's not a QAnon conspiracy theory, as Nancy Pelosi and her cronies try to claim. That Amber Alert she mentioned, Allie Carter is her government name, her adoptive name, her name she was born with is named Tori Outlaw. I was doing some research. Allegedly, she may be the former rapper music artist Tupac Shakur's daughter, allegedly. But her adoptive name is Allie Carter. So if you punch in her name, research it. It's on Rumble. YouTube, shut down a lot of the Pizzagate stuff. They censored it heavily, so you can't find. It's still things you can find out there if you know who to research credible information that's not conspiratorial, that has been actually ruled on. Just like, when the Jerry Sandusky situation went public, that was something that actually occurred. So this can't be denied, the evidence. But I'm just saying, if you look her up, she gives the inside, in-depth look at she exposes the Amber Alert system as also a warning signal for traffickers to move wherever they're at with whoever they have in their, I want to say custody, or what, the term, if they've kidnapped someone. She said that's also a term to alert traffickers to get out of the area. When you listen to what she has to say, and she said there's an underground in the museum, I think it's the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. She said, I've never been to California, but she said that at this museum there's an underground there. I yield the floor.
Oh, what's this underground where they kind of traffic them in, like a tunnel?
Yeah, something like that. She said in the interview was that some famous popular museum. I have to look it up. I have to probably watch the interview again, but I'm just pointing you in the direction, or anybody that wants to look it up to find the evidence. And some people have done interviews with her. I think she has an Instagram account, but she stays on the run, so some of her social media and stuff, because she claims she was trafficked with even top sheriffs in the Los Angeles area, because this gets into the police, not only with politicians high up, it goes back, to the Reagan-Bush administration. If you've ever heard the whistleblower, Kathy O'Brien.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yep. Out of Muskegon, Michigan, and Bryce Taylor, her original government name was Bryce Ford. Her and her daughter got into a car accident years ago, and they were kidnapped and trafficked under the Bush administration. She named the celebrity Bob Hope at one time was one of the handlers, but they were trafficked out to many different politicians and men prior to the D.C. Madam story. I yield the floor.
Heidi Fleiss.
Yeah, it makes me think of that. Remember they did like construction on Hugh Hefner's house or whatever, and they found all that tunnels going here and there. So I bet all them people are connected, like the tunnels, man. Some creepy shit.
Same thing with the Getty Museum. Yeah. Jumanji Jackson.
So did you read all that you thought was good in that Horn case? I'm still going through it. There's a lot of nice things that are said there. Useful things. That's very good.
What else do you find?
So there was a something in there about patents that I thought was so fantastic. And I'm down there on the C part. So I'll read what I thought was cool about the patents. I'm down to read that other part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got to find it in my notes here. Okay, nothing in this history suggests that personal property was any less protected against physical appropriation than real property. As this court summed up in James versus Campbell, 104 U.S. 356, 358 in 1882, a case concerning the alleged appropriation of a patent by the government, quote, a patent confers upon the patentee an exclusive property in the patented invention which cannot be appropriated or used by the government itself without just compensation, any more than it can appropriate or use without compensation land which has been patented to a private purchaser. Prior to this court's decision in Pennsylvania Coal Company versus Mahoon, 260 U.S. 393 in 1922, the takings clause was understood to provide protection only against a direct appropriation of property, personal or real. Pennsylvania Coal expanded the protection of the takings clause, holding that compensation was also required for a, quote, regulatory taking, a restriction on the use of property that went too far. The court clarified that the test for how far was too far required an ad hoc factual inquiry. That inquiry required considering factors such as the economic impact of the regulation, its interference with reasonable investment-backed expectations, and the character of the government action. So then I'll go over to the section C in Horn versus Department of Agriculture. And it says, the third question presented asks whether a governmental mandate to relinquish specific identifiable property as a condition on permission to engage in commerce affects a per se taking. The answer, at least in this case, is yes. The government contends that the reserve requirement is not a taking because raisin growers voluntarily chose to participate in the raisin market. Accordingly to the government, if raisin growers don't like it, they can plant different crops. I have to laugh. Or sell their raisin variety grapes as table grapes or for use in juice or wine. As stated in brief of respondent 32, brackets and internal quotation marks omitted. Let them sell wine is probably not much more comforting to the raisin growers than similar retorts have been to others throughout history. In any event, the government is wrong as a matter of law. In Loretta, we rejected the argument that the New York law was not a taking because a landlord could avoid the requirement by ceasing to be a landlord. We held instead that a landlord's ability to rent his property may not be conditioned on his forfeiting the right to compensation for a physical occupation. That's 458 U.S. at 439, number 17. As the court explained, the contrary arguments proves too much. Should I go on? I mean, sure. It's good. But...
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, for example, it would allow the government to require a landlord to devote a substantial portion of his building to vending and washing machines, with all profits to be retained by the owners of these services and with no compensation for the deprivation of space. It would even allow the government to requisition a certain number of apartments as permanent government offices. Gosh. As the court concluded, property rights cannot be so easily manipulated. The government and dissent rely heavily on Ruckelshaw's versus Monsanto Company, 467 U.S. 986 in 1984. There we held that the Environmental Protection Agency could require companies manufacturing pesticides, fungicides, and rodenticides to disclose health, safety, and environmental information about their products as a condition to receiving a permit to sell those products. While such information included trade secrets in which pesticide manufacturers had a property interest, those manufacturers were not subjected to a taking because they received a valuable government benefit in exchange, i.e., a license to sell dangerous chemicals. That's id at 1007, see Nolan 483, U.S. at 834, number 2, discussing Monsanto. The taking here cannot reasonably be characterized as part of a similar voluntary exchange. In one of the years at issue here, the government insisted that the Horns turn over 47% of their raisin crop in exchange for the benefit, quote, of being allowed to sell the remaining 53%. The next year, sorry, I have to laugh like it's a comedy routine. The next year, the toll was 30%. We have already rejected the idea that Monsanto may be extended by regarding basic and familiar uses of property as a government benefit on the same order as a permit to sell hazardous chemicals. See Nolan 483 U.S. at 834, number 2, distinguishing Monsanto on the ground that the right to build on one's own property, even though its exercise can be subjected to legitimate permitting requirements, cannot remotely be described as a, quote, government benefit. Selling produce in interstate commerce, although certainly subject to reasonable government regulation, is similarly not a special governmental benefit that the government may hold hostage to be ransomed by the waiver of constitutional protection. Raisins are not dangerous pesticides. They are a healthy snack. A case about conditioning the sale of hazardous substances on disclosure of health, safety, environmental information related to those hazards is hardly on point. Okay, so Leonard versus Earl, 279 U.S. 392 in 1929, is also readily distinguishable. In that case, the court upheld a Maryland requirement that oyster packers remit 10% of the marketable detached oyster shells or their monetary equivalent to the state for the privilege of harvesting the oysters. But the packers did not, quote, deny the power of the state to declare their business a privilege, end quote. And the power of the state to impose a privilege tax was not questioned by counsel, id at 396. The oysters, unlike raisins, were fair naturel that belonged to the state under state law, and, quote, no individual had any property rights in them other than such as the state may permit them to acquire, end of quote. That was in Leonard versus Earl, 155 MD period 252, 258, 141 A 714, 716 in 1928. The oyster packers did not simply seek to sell their property, they sought to appropriate the states. Indeed, the Maryland Court of Appeals saw the issue as a question of a reasonable and fair compensation from the packers to the state as the owner of the oysters. Id at 256, 141A at 717, internal quotation marks omitted. Raisins are not like oysters. They are private property, the fruit of the grower's labor, not public things subject to the absolute control of the state. Id at 258, 141A at 716. Any physical taking of them for public use must be accompanied by just compensation. Very good.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
There's something called the invention, but you really what?
I really like the differentiation between the oysters that are inherently owned by the state, right, versus raisins something coming from their own labor, their own property.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's something called the Invention Secret Act. The Invention Secret Act allows the United States government to classify ideas and patents under the secrecy orders, which indefinitely restricts public knowledge of those patents. Invention Secret Act. Invention Secrecy Act.
Ooh, so much could come under that.
Oh, I know. Anything they think, anything they want, because we say so.
Wow.
That way,
Yeah,
the next asshole out there coming up with a water-fueled engine, don't patent it. Just hand it out to the world and give it away for fucking free. You selfish, greedy bastards. What the fuck is wrong with these people? All these inventions, they want to go get it patented, and the DOD wants it, and the guy dies, and all this other shit. Just give it away. Idiot.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys working in the industries, or they might not say that want to say industry, it's their own hobbies, to figure out free energy or more better energy use, whatever. They're starting to come to that too. Like, nope, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to be subject to that whole investor scam, try to patent my stuff only to bury it, and so on.
Just give it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what a lot of the good ones are doing.
At least your name will be remembered. Not to mention the accolades and everything else. You'll have all kinds of consultation and everything else.
Yeah, and also make it so that the invention can't actually be pinned on anybody, so they don't become a target.
Mm-hmm. Just blast it on the internet. I mean, I do these classes every now and then, package it up, charge a little bit of money for everyone to come do. But otherwise, that W4 thing, give it away. Give it away. Everyone do it. Give it away.
Now I'm thinking about how that Horn case would relate to when just the mindset of a 1099-A of acquisition, when they acquisition somebody's estate or their time. And that's also related when you talk about the W4, they used it, they employed it, they acquisitioned it. Mm-hmm. And then showing that case that there should be just compensation for that acquisition.
Yep, and it's already determined in Trezevant. $1,400 a minute and $1,984.
My head is spinning, and at the same time, like, I want to laugh and cry. Just the ridiculousness that this has all come to, my goodness.
Sotomayor. Selling raisins is a privilege. Well, she's taking a lot of privilege. You see how fat that woman is? She's mucho gordo. She's taking a lot of privilege. I tell you.
And raisins aren't always be another mantra.
Yeah. Your Honor, raisins aren't everything. So the driver's like, well, Your Honor, aren't oysters. What? What a privilege.
Yeah. Raisins and oysters.
Raisins are labor associated with it. Oysters don't. so they can't.
Really? What the hell? Makes sense.
And if you get oysters, you have to get backpacks or a license. But growing raisins is not a privilege. The oysters belong to the state. The raisins belong to the laborer.
I did a quote on that last paragraph, and I put it in the chat so you could click on that and then read his paragraphs to the one who just asked, like, what are you talking about? You could read that last little section where the court explains the difference between oysters coming from state land, which you had to get permission to harvest something that was state property, was different than raisins grown a man's own labor on his own property, that there was, a difference. Oysters aren't raisins, kind of thing. I love that. Raisins aren't oysters.
It's funny, but it's still absurd to me. I don't know.
Traveling.
That's what makes me laugh and cry at all the same time. That we have to go to explaining things like this again. Sounds like we're in kindergarten. Everything I ever needed to learn about life, I learned in kindergarten. Have you heard about that book?
Yeah, 15 things. Yep, 15 things. Everything I need to learn in life, I learned in kindergarten. 15 things. Mm-hmm. You would say, well, Your Honor, traveling is not oysters. Traveling is not oysters. Traveling is not oysters.
Is operating a motor vehicle and traveling in a private car synonymous?
No. One's commercial, one's not. First one's commercial.
I mean, even if I would use their word drive, which indicates commerce, that's still not, driving is still not necessarily operating what they define as a motor vehicle.
Driving means commercial use of the public roads for private gain. That's the definition of driving.
People on the stagecoach used to
every
drive.
word has different definitions.
Try again.
I mean, there's the motor vehicle is not the physical car.
It's the use.
Yeah, it's the use, right? So is that the driving contract? You're using the driving contract or the name on the driving contract?
No, it's the primary use of the automobile for commerce is driving and transportation and carriage and operation. Depends on how the primary use for the automobile is either equipment or consumer good use, one or the other. The primary use of the automobile.
The driver's license, which is their property, is that not part of the motor vehicle, the driver's license?
Driver's license is driver's license, nothing to do with the automobile. It's not automobile specific.
It's a vehicle. The license card itself has information on it, right? It's conveying information on the vessel.
It authorizes you to engage in commercial use of public roads for private gain, but it doesn't mean you are.
The act of doing commerce is the driving.
And transportation, and carriage, and passenger. All that. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Technically, all they can regulate is interstate commerce. That's why they had to create all that funky shit.
Absolutely.
The problem is most people have their automobile license plate registered as equipment because they didn't say it's consumer good use. You have to affirmatively declare the primary use of the automobiles for family household purposes as a consumer good.
Is agricultural husbandry also under consumer good?
It is, but there's exemptions for husbandry. And I'm not going to take their exemption. I'm not engaged in commercial use of public roads for private gain. So I'm not even going to play that game. I'm not going to use the quibble words. Husbandry.
That's about like gasoline being a fossil fuel.
Yeah, so they. Yeah, that's actually a term I saw. It's a husbandry vehicle in their code.
Yeah, there's just exemptions for husbandry. Consumer good. Consumer good's a fact. Husbandry is a qualified use.
I think I need one of those exemptions.
For what?
Now you want the consumers like God in their system, man.
I'm going to go over it when Derek does this class. I'm going to walk through it. I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm actually going to give you stuff ready-made. And now you can hang yourself if you don't actually understand it. That's why I don't like handing stuff out, because people will just go use it and not read it and comprehend it. And they'll ask 2 or 3 questions and the person will hang themselves. Well, how often do you drive to the store? They can do all kinds of tricks. If you get that far. I would never even get that far.
I don't think I've ever driven anywhere.
Usually you have to get paid to go from A to B to be a driver.
My mom was a bus driver.
That's driving.
She got paid to carry kids up and down the road.
Uh-huh.
Funny thing is, most of the cabbies around here are like from South America. They don't even have a license.
In Australia?
No, Jersey, bro.
Oh, in Jersey. Yeah, all these illegals that are here don't have licenses, don't have insurance. They drive drunk, kill people, get let out right away.
Yeah, they all drive cabs. It's a fucking irony at its finest.
Yeah, they have a new law here. They'll give them licenses without a U.S. citizenship, so they can get them licensed. They can
And voting.
Yep.
Well, they have Uber driving people up and down the road, and most of them do not have a commercial driver's license or a chauffeur's license.
Well, even a Class C driver's license is still a commercial driver's license.
Yeah, because then what would the distinction be if you needed a commercial driver? Like if they're all commercial, you know what I mean?
It has to do with the tonnage. It has to do with tonnage, what class you need.
Yeah.
Weight of the vehicle.
That's the wordplay. Is like because it's like more tonnage, it's commercial now.
And how many axles? Yep.
Kind of like driving on toll roads where you get charged per axle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, right.
In Florida, yeah.
If you have a sled, it doesn't have any axles.
Well,
you wouldn't be driving then.
I'm glad somebody else appreciated the horn case. Those people gloss over it. They don't see the import. It makes me happy. Inventor Secrecy Act. You guys look that up? Inventor Secrecy Act. The government can just steal the patents and make them secret. We'll make you an offer you can't refuse. They had just given it away. Let the genie out of the bag. Especially with the internet now. It's impossible to hide things anymore. I heard something about the Three Gorges Dam broke or something like that. Is that true? I forgot to look it up. In China, the Three Gorges Dam.
Somebody said part of it did. They had a lot of flooding over there.
Oh, no. I feel bad for the people, not for the government.
Yep. They said a lot of the Bitcoin operation was being hampered.
All the CPUs churning out fractions of Bitcoin.
They said that a lot of the blockchain stuff that they were using for the Bitcoin and stuff like that, that they're trying to transfer it over to the AI. They had someplace out in the middle of the desert where they're putting in a data station that they're using solar power to power the computers and delivering for the AI community, all that chat GBT, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just more surveillance.
Yep.
They're trying to build a supercomputer to locate the God particle.
Quantum computing with brain cells, actual human brain cells inside the chip.
Biological?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can look up a computer called Pohiki Beach. That was it's one that they're using in geoengineering these days.
Also, check out Yuval Noah Harari with the World Economic Forum. Him and Klaus Schwab, they're pushing for transhumanism. They've admitted this. Yuval Noah Harari stated on record that we no longer need humans.
So let's get rid of him first.
Yeah, right. I guess they'll be doing us a favor and jumping off a building.
Right. Yep. He's with the World Economic Forum. He was the personal advisor to Klaus Schwab, who I heard stepped down from his position, but is still, of course, affiliated. You can research him. Just putting it out there. I yield.
But maybe the fact that they're surrounded is an admission that they're not human.
Maybe he's a human. Maybe he's a human being and not a human, and then he has something against humans.
That's a gremlin. Holy crap!
Even human, I don't even like that word, human.
Now, allegedly, according to Alex Jones, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but he stated allegedly through some of his private sources that Yuval Noah Harari's mother was, I guess, into Satan worship, and she sacrificed him as a baby and offered him up to Satan. And he's connected to the ruling class establishment, allegedly. I yield.
Well, that would explain it.
The Georgia Guidestones didn't say anything about humans or human beings. It just said the population needed to be down at 500 million.
Yeah, what population? Plants, animals? I mean.
Well, I think it was men and women.
Yeah, but
Based on what? What makes you think it's men and women? That's wild.
Because a human being is a monster.
Exactly.
But when it just says population, like you said, how can we assume?
Yeah, ambiguity. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
That's assumption. That
so
was
many.
Just my assumption. But maybe they're talking about humans. They want to get rid of the monsters.
Oh, what the fuck?
They also want access to the life extension technology. They don't want the slaves or commoners they refer to, as serfs, to get access to that, as they're also developing the technology to be able to merge with machines. They don't want us to have access to life extension technology like carbon 60, other things, like according to the Dr. David Sinclair, where he discovered the work behind what's that supplement that they did it on mice, and the mice that were in their 60s, it slowed down their aging process. They also discovered something else. They don't want us to have access because, of course, they're about population reduction. But you can look up the Dr. David Sinclair on YouTube. It will lead you to the information, the supplements and stuff to slow down or reverse the aging process. I yield.
I mean, that's fair play and all, but I mean, pretty much you do have access to all that stuff. What America does is that they make it so that all the things that are actually extremely effective are not allowed into the country or allowed to be used by practitioners. And when practitioners use these methods and treatments, they get killed, or they get they get like long lives of having to be in court and losing their practice. So I mean, that may be true, but in reality, they've regulated what is available to people in America for treatment for the body to a very high degree.
If you look at the video down there, Man and Other Animals, Alfred Adask, the 1906 Food and Drug Act, drug and medical device is meant for animals. So all this drugs and everything like that means for animals. And if you look up title section 136, animals defined as man. Alfred Adask.
And what title was that you just said? 36, but what did you say before it?
Title 7, Section 136. Definition
Title
of animal.
7. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, they don't like anybody having apricot seeds.
There just seem to be agricultural control mechanisms they've kind of infiltrated into the system.
No, I think someone dies on the operating table. Well, they're a man or an animal. Okay, well, he died. Okay, yeah.
Isn't that under Black Clause Edition 4?
I don't know what you're talking about. What's that?
It describes what you just mentioned about humans being an animal.
Well, it's in the U.S. Code.
Definition.
It's in the U.S. Code, Section 136, the Title 7.
It says the term
animals don't have any guaranteed rights. That's for sure.
The way it states it is the term animal quotations means all that vertebrate and intervertebrate species, including but not limited to man and other mammals, bird, fish, and shellfish. That's how they state it.
Iona, in relation to what you mentioned earlier, how they make it difficult. I was going to bring the Food and Drug Administration and big there doctors out there that you do research, had to go through the red tape. So you are correct; they make it harder. But if you know what to look for, you can access those supplements. But the elites, remember, they don't have their full New World Order completely in place yet. So, you know, they use their propaganda of court machine helps keep this type of information suppressed and things of that sort. But if you know what to look for, you can actually order some of those products. But one has to, you know, I'm not promoting for anybody. I'm not connected to any of these people. I just do my own cognitive research.
Oh, yeah, I totally appreciate that. What I'm trying to say is that stuff is very easily found with the quick Google search, and you can access those products very easily. What I'm talking about is, you know, there's certain machines and treatments, you know, there's certain things like biological medicine, there's isopathic therapies, there's stuff that the Germans came out with. There's, you know, you can order it from another country and maybe get it past borders as long as you're not actually a doctor that's utilizing it in your practice. I mean, they do, some of them do get it. But what I'm saying is there's such powerful medicines and treatments out there, you know, even like the machines that take your blood out, ozonate it, put it back out. I mean, I'm sure some doctors have found ways to get certain things in the country, but what I'm saying is that it's not like you can have easy access to it. If you were in Germany or you were in South America or in Mexico or pretty much any other country, you're gonna have, if you have the money, like it is everywhere, you're gonna have access to stuff that's far beyond you know, anything that's available in America. And that's how it's been since for a long time. Even if you look back at when they first started the country, they banned homeopathy, something like simple like that. So in other countries, even if they vaccinate their kids, they can detox them really at a young age, and they don't end up with like lifelong problems like they do in America because of the suppression of what it's a huge control factor that's been going on forever with that. And yeah, sure, now they might be saying it's harder to get those products, but I've never had a hard time finding any supplement or product or information on it at all with just being interested in it. But to get the stuff that is regulated to the degree where you're talking, you know, I even heard a doctor, she was doing IVs in Arizona or something, you know, just regular, you know, freaking IV chelation, whatever it was, right? Normal stuff. And she was in court and she lost her whole practice because they just make it impossible for these people to offer that stuff. Maybe a little bit more possible, but very difficult. And if they're actually doing something that's, you know, working hardcore, they'll make sure that doctor goes down. So, you know, you might go get your chelate, you might go get like a mix of IVs somewhere. But if that doctor has a way to actually, you know, get the body better from cancer or some other serious illness, and they're utilizing things, a lot of times they will make sure that doctor goes out of business. That's just how it's been forever.
Right,
So
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Smoking Baby. Are you?
This whole thing with man and other animals that I posted in the room here, in Title 7, Section 136, animals define definition of an animal is a man, invertebrate, vertebrate, right? You guys capture all that? Man is an animal.
Yep.
So how do you fix that presumption? How do you fix that presumption? Any ideas?
Demonstrate that one for people.
Well, yeah, that's close. You're on there, but not for the reason you said it. It's the correct answer, but not for the reason you cited. I'll show you. I'll show you though. You guys give up? Anyone else want to take a swing and struggle a little bit?
Can I ask what separates man from animal?
Man is an animal, according to Title VII. Definition of animal means man and other invertebrates. Vertebrates and invertebrates.
Animals don't have moral and ethical measure in their consciousness.
Well, they're still an animal. You can kill the animal. You can call the animals. So how do we shift our status from man to something else? How do we do that? How do you cure that presumption? All right, give up.
Is that not the book of life we've all been hearing about?
Well, well, even the book of life deals with children, which is child and children, which is a term of purchase, and the infant, which is a decedent. Even then. So I want to read that. Starting with Austin, Jurisprudence 362. The lady who was reading before does a good job.
Oh yeah, I can read it. I'm just looking for the chat right now. I'm a little lost. Oh yeah, I'm gonna find our chat that we're in. Hold on.
Oh, the Smoking Baby.
Okay. How the hell did I lose it?
Has a little circle with a black circle with a white baby face in there. A little crown on his head. It should be at the top since it's posted.
Yeah, for some reason I'm in some private chat and my Telegram is foreign to me.
Just back out of it. Left arrow down at the bottom. Bing, 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 bing. Left arrow.
Huh.
What are you doing being a traitor going into other rooms? What's that about?
It was a private chat with somebody. But it's like my Telegram's all set up on a Mac, so I don't know about you PC guys, but it's a little confusing.
Don't you see a left arrow at the top of the header of whatever room you're in? Next to the icon, there's a little left arrow.
I see an X, a left. Oh yeah, I see the recording. If I find the guy Naz that sent me the link, I'll find it. Oh, there he is. I'll go to our private message and he gave me the link. Okay, boom, I'm in here. All right. Should I just read what's in the white or should I open up the link? What's best for you?
No, just read what the words are there.
Okay, Austin's Jurors 362, 363. The word homo corresponds to the English word man, and as the Romans expressed it, unius homo, pluribus personas, i.e., one man has many persons, or sustains many status, or many different conditions. Austin says the term person has two meanings, which must be carefully distinguished. It denotes a man or a human being, or it signifies